All right, good morning, my friends. All right, all right. How's everybody doing this morning? All right, so let's jump into it. There's no fancy updates, I don't think, just yet. Well, I know yesterday we were talking about I need a little cheat sheet of things that are going on, so I can quickly go down there. But we got to get some serious work done today. We got 5 things to color, so might be a longer stream. We'll see. And yeah, so one of the things here I wanted to show you guys is the process I do for coloring. I know I have a lot of people that ask that. So hopefully there's some value in there for you guys. What else? Oh, so here, I'll quickly update you guys here. These are the last 2 that we wrapped up yesterday. So you guys can see how they turned out. Get some inkies on that guy. And then this one here. We wrapped up. A lot of fun to do this one too. Okay, so let me close these up here and I'll show you guys, actually here, let's save that. I'll start with that one actually. Show you guys how I prep these for coloring. So one of the things I like to do is color at 300 dpi. These drawings are at 600, so they're a little bit bigger. We're going to shrink those guys down. If you got a computer that can handle doing that, I mean, knock yourself out. But this is going to be for print, so we don't need to go crazy. And it's going to take a little bit of a horsepower to get this puppy going, coloring that way. So this one here I have a little bit different. These are the portals. Let me just name that. Okay. Okay, so if I make a layer underneath here, just to give you guys the example of what I'm talking about here. So go up here, let's go into here. If we pick a color, you'll see, let's see if it's actually here at all. Oh, maybe I didn't draw in white. This one's a bad example. Sometimes when we're inking, we draw in black and white here. Let me see if any of these actually have it. This one might be a good example. Let me try. All right. So none of these have it. Anyway, sometimes when you're inking, you can go in white, right? And what that does is it just sort of gets rid of... oh, my mic had some... Okay, thanks. 1 second. Let me just fiddle with some settings. Might be my webcam again. Webcam. We'll figure it out somewhere. What does it sound like? Does it sound... Here, let me try this. Can you still hear me? Yeah, okay. So now it probably sounds like I'm yelling over there. We'll see. Let's see what we can do here. Property. Okay. It looks fine on my end. The audio stream's current bitrate is lower. We recommend that you use bitrate 128. 1 second. YouTube's giving me a little update here. Let me see if there's something I can fiddle with on here. My apologies. Settings. Okay. Maybe it's better. All right. Let me know if it's better now. It may have been on YouTube side. But we'll see. Anyway, okay, so sometimes what I'll do is when I'm inking, I'll ink with white to clean things up. And when you start coloring, I don't like setting my line art to multiply so that you can see through it. So in Clip Studio, it's got this really cool thing. Let me just get these guys together. If you go up to Edit, and it is right here, Convert Brightness to Opacity, what that'll do is it'll actually remove the line art from any white from black. so that the line art's separated. So if I were to lock the transparency on that and fill it, we could get, whoops, you could color your line art, right? So it's a quick, easy way to be able to fix that. So I'm just going to go through real quick here and just make sure everything's set the way it should be, and then we can get to coloring. And like I said, oh, it's robotic. Okay. Let me try actually seeing what you guys are seeing. I love when this happens, eh? Is there a way? I wonder if it's my actual headset. Let me try unplugging it and plugging it back in. Alright, we'll see if that's a little bit better here. Alright, I think that fixed it. Okay. If it doesn't, just let me know. Probably something to do with USB plugs or anything. Anyway, Dennis, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Richard, welcome, welcome. I'm gonna have to look into something that's a little bit more. I on the end here, as I tap it, there's like usually that like muffler thing or whatever. That thing, I don't know, it busted off. I think a cat jumped on it, knocked the headset over, and so it doesn't sound as crisp as it could. But if it starts getting funky town, I think we might have to look into getting a different mic. Anyway, thank you guys for bearing with me on that one. All right, so we got all that. Now, one of the cool things, and I haven't tried this yet, so I'm going to try. So even though I say it's cool and I haven't done it yet, I'm hoping we can do it. So with these in your story mode here, and I'm just starting to learn this thing too, so bear with me. You can go up to like batch process, and you can do like all the pages in a story, which should be pretty cool because if you're working on like a 22-page book or larger, you can. It's good to be able to batch do like do something to every single page as opposed to opening each file and doing it. So I'm hoping what we can do here is change the resolution. Let's see what we got here. Canvas properties, maybe. Change image resolution is what we want. And yeah, we want this guy to be 300. Let's see if it works. Yeah. Let's do it. Show the settings. Nah, skip it. Let's go. Boom. Just run it, my friends. All right, let's take a look. Let's see if we get lucky here. So yeah, 300 EPI. Guess it chose to skip this one. Okay. We'll do it the old school way, I guess. Image resolution. Whoops. Interesting. I wonder why I did it for some of them and didn't do it for the other ones. Crappy. This one? Okay. What else did we do? Oh, last night I ended up downloading TikTok and got an account set there. So I'm going to fart around with it over the next couple days during the streams or whatever. At the bottom, you guys know where there's all those links and stuff, like all the social stuff on the bottom of your screen. There'll be a TikTok one there. If you guys want to follow me right now, I believe my username is JonathanRector82. I wish there was a way to maybe change that, unless I did something wrong. Maybe something a little bit more, I don't know, whatever. Thematic. You know, if it was Scribbles Jonathan or whatever, that kind of shit, just to make it easier for people to follow. But anyway, if you guys are interested, you can follow me there. Not quite sure what we're going to be doing on there just yet. Usually when I'm not sure what new platform, I usually just start with process. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go here. I've got a brush, what is it called? Color flats. It's just a brush that looks something like this. It can get bigger with very little pen pressure because what we're trying to do is just fill chunks of area, and then we're going to use those chunks of area for masking. Richard, welcome, man. So, are you getting stir crazy from isolation yet? Got enough toilet paper? Yeah, we're fine with toilet paper. Isolation, no. I mean, I could do this all the time. Fiance, on the other hand, she's a lot more social. More so with family, too. And I think that's the hardest part. A lot of people missing family and stuff like that. I'm okay. But it's going. It's going. Ideally, I would like it just so it's not this way anymore. You know, get some sort of normalcy going on. But what can you do? How about you guys? How you guys all handling it? One thing I'll say for sure is this whole thing, for me anyway, has lit, I don't say lit a fire under my ass. Whoops. Let me get the right thing here. All layers. Yeah, here, I'll do this. But because of sort of what's currently happened at work that I've talked about before, what is going on? There we go. The fire that I'm talking under my ass is sort of like, I think it's just the wake up call I'm hoping a lot of people get from this, because that's what I've been getting, is it's how temporary things could be. Hopefully they're not always that way, right? But you never know what's going to happen in life. And it's good not to waste time. And I think it was for me anyway. Let me just duplicate this so I can see it in another monitor. But like especially going to work, it was a lot of, you get burnt out because it's work, right? So you're using a lot of your brain. It depends what the job is that you're doing currently, right? The last little bunch of things that I was doing was a lot of like research gathering and stuff, and not really art related. So it was tapping a different part of my brain. So it was burning me out in a different way. So when I came home and then after I spent a little bit of time with the family and all that kind of stuff, when it comes time to sit down to do my own thing, it was very tough. And then you get okay with just being, that's the way it is. Excuse me. So now that, the job's kind of disappeared for now, it could always come back for sure. But currently, in the way everything's going, you can't sit around, or at least I'm taking it as it's not a great time to be sitting around. This is the opposite. It's an excellent time to do the thing maybe that you should have been doing this whole time, whether it's taking it more seriously, making your own thing, trying to find work out there, like art-related work or anything like that. So I'm more positive about all of this, at least until, knock on wood, nobody gets sick, but when like the real tragedy starts coming in, if it does at all, for my family, for other people's family, it's not great. But nothing yet here on that front. But yeah, so all of it's been, I would say, mostly positive for me, outside of losing the job. But I'm not alone. There's a lot of people that are in the same boat, right? Or will be in the same boat, I would argue. So it's good to know you're not alone when stuff like this kind of happens. And I'm fortunate enough to have just, a little bit of money in the bank saved up. So I can be afforded a little bit of, I'll call it luxury time to actually take this more serious. But anyway, all that being said, it's actually been really cool because I feel like I kind of started I say finding myself. That sounds ridiculous, but things I used to do, things I used to listen to, things I used to subscribe to, podcasts I would listen to for productivity, or like just, I don't want to say idea generation necessarily, but like Gary Vaynerchuk. I've been listening to a bunch of him again. That guy's just a breath of fresh air to me. I can never not listen to something he says and get an idea of something, right? And that's the cool stuff. It's like distracting myself enough so you don't have to, or even put any energy into any of the stuff kind of going on. That like, you can't change things you can't affect, right? Like, something's out of your control. What are you gonna do? But there's lots of things in your control that you can do, and that's sort of where I'm at. So it's all good on this side, man. Thank you for the question. Yeah, people are going crazy left and right. I'm just here, but nothing's changed for me. Yeah. That might be a good way of saying it. Deadly Cookie, how's it going? Hey, Mom, how's it going? She's doing all right. Luckily, I can still play games and such with friends. Yeah, we're gonna be fine. Yeah, everything's fine. All right, so what I'm doing here is one of the cool things in Clip Studio. Photoshop has this too. I don't think it does this one thing I'll show, but where you get the paint bucket tool and you just, fill in things. Clip Studio is obviously better in this regard. You can click and drag and it'll fill it in. So as an example, I'll just do like this pattern down here. So Photoshop, right, you might click, 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 like that. Usually nothing wrong with that, but sometimes you get white gaps. But if you just click and drag, right, like, we're knocking this in. Kind of go back in after. You see how fast that is? There's another thing here. Lasso fill. You can kind of make giant selections, then when you're done, it'll just autofill. Right, like that. Boom. So, and I also don't flat too tight. I feel like most of this stuff, once it gets printed anyway, like a gap like this, you see right here, I probably, I'll get that. But like little things like this, unless I'm here doing it right now, I usually just walk away from it. It's not a big deal. I've checked a bunch of the stuff out that I've had printed, and you can't even see it, myself anyway. If this artwork was going to get blown up, it might be something to look into, but sometimes I do like blur effects or something at the end of everything, and when you blur it, it can fill in those gaps anyway, so I don't really spend too much time worrying about doing that. Unless you like zoom out and you can see something that really, like, ooh, you missed the spot. Don't stress about it. How's that looking over there? Yeah. Son of a J, welcome, man. Nice, made it. Yeah, you made. I love the feature. Oh yeah, man, it helps so much. I'm thinking maybe the next couple of streams anyway, I might do them in the afternoon. Just get not other people, but see who's around. Yeah, let's go all the way over here. So I was able to do like a very small amount of work on Godslayer last night. That was good. More ideas popping in the head of where to go. The first thing I was going to do for Godslayer was just for Patreon, and then all this happened. And what I was going to do on Patreon was, I believe, I always get the number wrong. I think it was 12 pages. Might have been 16, somewhere around there. Just for patrons, maybe eventually post at other places. But it was more of like a style test. I like to do that with comics that I'm not familiar with the art style necessarily. Because there's learning on the job, we'll call it. Like, okay, in the script I wrote there's a horse. And if I'm drawing in a different style or a look, I'm not great at drawing horses to start with, but sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of practice in there. So a nice little sample script that's still in the vein of what the story is definitely helps. But since everything's been going on the way it is, I might back out of that and just do a the crowdfunded story. I'm still kind of going back and forth on that. I just don't want to waste time. I want to maximize as much time as I have, if that makes sense. And I know Donald DeLay, he's been in the chat a few times. And I've brought this up with you guys too, but I feel like I need to say things over and over again just to keep everybody on the same page. So when you guys give feedback or comments, if you guys have any at all, it's in context. And he's suggesting at least a lot of the Comicsgate cats, they do 48-page books generally, and they get some pretty good success. So in my mind, it's there. I just need to do a couple of things there. Like I can have the rough plots laid out for the story, and then how many actual pages it'll be. I don't want to say fatten things out, but stretch areas out to fit that. And all I need to do really is just check to see cost and stuff like that. 48 pages, I think it's 48 pages. Yeah, 48 pages sounds like it's on the cheaper end. Or it's in that sweet spot where like you can charge, I guess like $20 for a comic or whatever. And that'll include shipping, but at least there's a little bit of profit coming back. And I would say too, like a 22-page book is kind of like, I don't think there's anything wrong with a 22-page book. But one thing I think, anyway, is people like lots of content at one time. If you don't like it, you're just going to move on anyway, but if you do like it, you want more of it right away. So 48 pages sounds like a sweet spot, you know? It's kind of like half of a trade paperback, give or take. So you can get a little bit thicker of a story without making a trade paperback. And if you were to do like 2 of those a year, maybe even 3, you know, arguably you're doing a light trade paperback once a year kind of deal. So that's sort of where my mind's going. And we'll see how it goes. Godslayer is the first one we're doing. But I'm totally not taking any stories that I've done before off the table for that. It's funny, every time we stream, I've got the slides of the artwork, right? Like, here, let me just bring them back up here real quick. And I do need to update them, but so here we got Mysterio, right? It's funny because I get to see sort of like the old stuff, and I'll talk about the one that pops up all the time that I look at. I'm like, oh, like it'd be fun to get back in there. So it's not this one, not that one. Even though I really like this Captain America picture, and a lot of people too, when I was posting this on social, really enjoyed it. They're like, yeah, keep going in that style. Broly, that's like my favorite Dragon Ball character. That was a lot of fun to do. And that's kind of the style, right? The JESOP King look. This one I just loved to bits. The Simon Belmont chibi. Something cool there. This picture right here, this JESOP King cover for issue 2, that's never gotten done yet. I love it. There's something about it. Like, to me, it's kind of like the top, I would say, of my JESOP King game. Even though it hasn't come out. I'm not sure when it would, but I see it and I'm like, you know, new projects always have, and we talked about this yesterday too. It's funny how these things snowball, of the new and shiny, right? And Donald, I always bring him up because he gives me a lot of food to chew on. My brain just chewing away. And JESOP King, the first story anyway, is done. You know, so it's a great way to start a crowdfunding thing for people that are interested in it, for something that's already done, like the artwork's done. I guess my only reservations is I start coming up with all the reasons why you shouldn't do something, which is bad, right? We shouldn't do that. But JESOP King, I talked about this yesterday. So, like, Worlds in Peril here. I showed that yesterday too. I feel like everything I'm going to say today was yesterday. We did this yesterday, previously on. Anyway, so this would be like an 11/17 comic book, a proper one, right? JESOP King is, I would say, more like a manga size. It's a 8.5 by 11 would be the easier way to say it. And did I grab? It's over there somewhere. One of the books I did was around that format. And I feel like if I don't know, part of me is like, well, just start JESOP King over again. Tell a new story geared towards like There's some things I'd like to fix, not in that first story necessarily, but going forward with the direction and the tone of it, and just go like 11 by 17, do a book that way. It's been on my mind. And one of the cool things about doing client work at the same time is it lets your brain do a deep dive. Think real constructively of, okay, before you pull the trigger, do this or that, or what about this? What about that? One of the shitty parts is your brain's very good at giving you reasons not to do something, right? So like everything I'm just saying right now. It's like, no, do God Slayer, it's already here, you're already moving along on that. You're already talking about it. You're seeing artwork, so it's like the brain's using all these opportunities to doubt it. So just fun. Right now we're just doing color flats here, okay, guys? So like the actual colors outside of this guy, I picked the right brown. These ones are just masks, and you'll see what I'm doing with them real quick. This is just the way I color. I'm trying to optimize it to go as fast as possible. I'm not the best colorist at all. I consider myself like a practical colorist. I just need certain things for you to see, and arguably just to highlight the artwork and just let the color sort of drape on top. It sounds like I'm like romanticizing the color here. That's why I was very interested in like the old school comics. Like I've been looking at a lot of Kirby. You guys know that I'm talking about him to death. And Kirby, all the 70s, 80s books, just very well done. Color, I would say. But you only get to work with certain colors, right? You don't get this entire color wheel over here. So you have to make some creative decisions. What that lets you do though is it lets you just kind of keep the color going quick. Right? When you have like this open possibility, you can just get stuck. Whoops. There we go. Okay. Got that. Let me catch up with you guys. Thank you too by leaving comments. And as I catch up here, I say it all the time. If you do have a question, there's no stupid questions. If you need help with something, by all means, jam it in the chat. I'll do my best to help you out. You'd be surprised how many people have questions, but they're not able to make it to the streams. And by you asking a question, there's a chance you could help somebody else out as well. What do we got here? Okay. Deadly Cookie saying, since I'm an extrovert and introvert a combo. I do get kind of weird when I'm stuck indoors, though, so that's one thing that gets to me. Yeah, no, I can believe it. I know this sounds messed up, but whatever. I feel like women tend to feel a little bit more extroverted in general. Like socializing, like women are very social creatures. I know all humans are, but in my experience anyway, a lot of ladies like that. So with dudes, right, most of us, you can just plug into the internet and you don't have to worry about that. So I understand what you're saying. Son of a J, I need to sit down and write out the script to a short comic I have in mind. Right on. I think my problem with comics that they don't have a lot of content. They tend to fall off my radar. Sure, it's not like I don't like it. I forget it while waiting. Oh, sure. Yeah. No. Yeah. So, as an example, just to tie it back to me, to make it all about me, the Kickstarter or Indiegogo, whatever it is, whatever I'm going to do, the artwork, the whole artwork's going to be done. That's already done. What it'll be is asking people to, if you're interested in it, to get yourself a copy of it to help pay for ship. Like it's only to get copies printed and then shipped. That's all it is. I'm not looking to ask for money to give me the financial means to make it. I would never ask. I don't want to say never, but that's not the goal of what I'm doing. I have money. I can get money. If I have to go get a day job somewhere, I can do that. I hope. But in the meantime, I can still draw. That's still something I'm doing. So the book would be done. I'm just selling the final printed product. Now, that's what I like about the 48 pages so far anyway, is that it's a little thicker, right? I actually did this the other day. I don't have them here. I grabbed 2 floppies that I have, like 2 Marvel ones, and just kind of held them together. I'm like, it feels like there's some meat in there. It doesn't feel like 22 is quick, right? It's very, depends what your story is. You could be done reading that in like 5 minutes. A little bit of girth to it, I think, gives it some weight. It makes it feel a little bit, I don't say important necessarily, but maybe something that you might be interested in getting. Just me personally. Hey Eric, how's it going? Crowdfunding is great, but there's so many creators out there very late in fulfilling books several months to years. Yeah, I do know that pool has been tainted by people. And to your point, I'm wondering. Hold on one second. I'm just looking at this, and this should all be in shadow here. You see, I have a shadow behind the helmet, and there's nothing down here. Let's fix that. One second. I gotta let the cats in. Coming in. It's almost time for your guys' naps. All right, where's JESOP? Is he coming in soon? You coming for a nap? We're not going to do this back and forth with the door. Zelda. Okay. I locked the transparency. Okay, so watch how much better this should look. There, now it makes more sense. I'm going to black these over here too. Yeah, that reads better. And over here. Better. Yeah, sorry, Eric. What you were saying there? I do wonder, to your point, if a lot of those people that are late, if it's printing and stuff. I mean, I don't try to razzle too many people about this. Oh my goodness, I've backed a few board gaming things on Kickstarter, and those sometimes are like a year and a half out. Come on. And sometimes you even forget that you get them. Here's an example here. Let me just. Nobody cares about this, I don't think. But this just came in. Where are we going here? Boom. Yep. This game here. And I'm kind of getting out of this hobby here, but it's called Dungeon Drop. Can you guys see that? Cool. Fun little game. I had forgotten that I even backed that until I think 3 months ago when they started saying, hey, things are coming out. You guys can expect to get them in the mail. I even forgot that I backed it. So it's good and bad. Something like that's a lot of production work. So I can kind of see. The comic stuff, I'm in the camp that you shouldn't put something on Kickstarter or whatever you want to call them. Indiegogo, whatever the other ones are, unless it's like it's already done. You just need to get it printed. Because of one of the reasons you're saying, people are impatient, right? If you want something, you want it now. Jesus, Zelda, what are you doing? Cats are destroying the house. And I'm trying to be very aware that these cats are gonna drive me up a wall. Very aware that Kickstarters and crowdfunding, they're the long game kind of thing. You know, if you're only going into it once, it's whatever. But people are kind of backing you on faith. So anybody that might be interested in whatever the hell it is that I do for my first crowdfunding thing, I would imagine you guys are hopeful, right? Like, okay, cool. Yeah, I've seen him do his stuff for a while. What he's doing might look interesting. I'll back it. Now, if I screw that up, the next one that I do, less and less people are more inclined to get on board, right? It's just customer loyalty kind of thing, right? I imagine being transparent and sort of talking about why things are failing definitely push into the better light for people so that they can understand where their money went, what's going on. But no, I would never ask to back something if it wasn't done. Unless I didn't have a job, we'll say, and like this was the thing. I'm putting everything into this last go. If you got people that are on board, thank you, and let's get it going. But comics are one of those things I don't think you need like that much time. Like I don't think you should. Oh man, you guys hear this in the background? A baby trying to sleep. Stream going. Cat's losing their mind. Let me change the color here because this it's kind of bleeding into other things. Let's see where it's overlapping. But does that make sense? Like comics, I think you should be able to fund a comic before going to Kickstarter. If you're an artist and if you're doing a creator owned, like 100% your thing, I don't think there's a reason that you need to ask people to fund your comic to get made. If you're, we'll say, a writer, and you have to fund an artist, colorist, and all that stuff, could be an argument for that. Because that's a lot of financial burden up front for the writer. On the same hand, I would argue too, maybe save up a little so that what you're asking to get it made isn't brutal. You know what I'm saying? But I think there's a lot of ebbs and flows to something like that. Jack, how's it going, brother? I am working on Galaxies in Peril pinups. It is think Dungeons and Dragons, but with superheroes. And we need some artwork for that book. So we're working on that, man. We're doing coloring today. Skull Diamond, welcome. Thank you for the follows yesterday too, brother. Appreciate that. Son of a J, I did have a question. My following is pretty small, so I only have a few who come to me for commissions. So when you were starting out, where and how were you finding work? Forums that I don't think exist anymore. Pencil Jack, Digital Webbing, a little bit on an old site called conceptart.org. I don't think that's around anymore. And that's about it. And surprisingly, word of mouth. A couple friends that I'm still friends with, they would say like, people would go to them going like, I need a comic done or a pinup. Can you do it? They say no, but you can check this guy. So I get an email saying like, hey, so-and-so speaks highly of you. Do you have time to do like a pinup or something? Come on. Yeah, come on. Find a place to sleep, pal. I apologize the back and forth I'm going to have to be doing with these guys. They're just bored, so they're meowing. So that's where I was going. Nowadays, I would 100% tell everybody that streams, make a YouTube channel because you can just re-upload your content. You can make custom content for YouTube, right? But post on every single social platform you can. There shouldn't be a reason why you can't outside of time. I think the easiest thing you could do, and it might not be the best, and I do it, is you make let's say a piece of art like I'm doing right now. Get your phone, take a picture of it, do something, and post that picture on every platform. So Twitter, Facebook, all of them. Maybe with the goal of one day doing custom content for each, like trying to do something. But you don't know where people are, right? People are coming from every direction. And you're just trying to get in front of people. There's so much noise when it comes to artwork that it's the only way to stay on top of it. And honestly, it's that. And follow hashtags. You know, like looking for work, looking for comic work. LinkedIn is one that I guess is blowing up a little bit right now, which is interesting. Listen to some podcasts on YouTube, otherwise, you know, and just try to stay in the mix. I think a lot of artists that are looking for work, we just make the work, put it out there, and then just wait. And especially if you're not listening to one guy you can listen to right now, I'll tell you right off the top. And I've already talked about him, Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary VEE. Sometimes he goes by online. Go listen to his stuff. He's got a tremendous amount of ideas, and a lot of the stuff he's coming up with isn't just directed to artists. Like little amount of it actually is, but you can leverage a lot of what he's doing as like for good ideas because what he's really good at is social. And if you're doing any kind of art and you're posting it online, it's social. Good God, what are you guys? They're fighting between a door. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Okay, have a great day. So do that. But the number one thing you could do, the number one thing that I would say that you could do, is make content. Make a comic. Make tutorial videos. Make journal videos. Post everywhere you can, as much as you can, as often as you can. Entertainment. I mean, like where I'm coming from is I consider what I'm doing entertainment and escapism. So people come, and this is the way I'm looking at it, so that I can rationalize some of the decisions I go. So I can, it's like a filter I'll have for myself. Is yeah, I could have a boring voice, and the stuff you're saying is monotonous, right? And I'm trying to ramble on, and I appreciate the questions because it helps rambling tremendously. But I imagine people put what I'm saying on in the background, and just helps them get through whatever they're doing. So if you just need somebody to listen to in the background while you're plowing away at the job you're working on or whatever, great. Then I'm doing what I need to do, providing escapism for people from the day to day. Right now is great because a lot of people are stuck at home, right? So you're able to capitalize on a lot of people that you might not have normally gotten. So that's great. But yes, make something, because it does two things for you, right? First thing it does is it gives you something at the end, whether it's a portfolio piece, whether it's something you could possibly sell, or you just want to share around for free. Doesn't matter. And then also share creating it or making it. And what that's going to do is it's going to show people that have never met you. Maybe this is their first time meeting you, right? That you're doing something. You're creating something. Everybody always likes watching people make stuff. You might not like 44-hour videos like these ones are, right? But everybody's curious on how things are made. And at the end of it, you don't know who's watching it, right? So they might find your stuff and go, "Cool, I want to work with them. I got an idea. Maybe they might be into, or hey, do they got like an art book or something to sell? Those kinds of things. Maybe think of it a little bit more like that. I don't think it's as easy anymore to just go looking for work, apply, and then they're out there. But I don't think they're not very common, those jobs. At least the ones that I've found. I haven't had a lot of. I think I've had maybe one job, maybe two, out of looking for an artist, and I would submit portfolios and never get them. I would argue I mostly get most of my work from references from other people, and or people seeing what I do and they come to me asking me rates. And then I'm probably in a pool of other people they're looking at and going like, okay, well this guy might charge a little more or less, and availability, especially in comics, is huge. You might be the guy or the girl to do the job, but you're currently busy and you just won't be able to get it. Or you're available, you just lost or you just wrapped up a job. They need somebody now, and you're like, okay, getting on there. Like comics is a greasy, greasy place to work. That's why I highly recommend making your own. Eric, I think a lot of comic crowdfunders wait until they have funds to start working on it. Yeah, and I am opposed to that view. I think it's a very short-sighted view. I don't think it's the right way to do it. Because if something happens, you're fucked. Now you're playing catch up, and comics take so long anyway. And when people get a comic, they read through it like that. It's not even like consumed. One thing I hate about comics, and I've always hated about them, is how fast you consume it. I haven't had a comic pull file, and if you don't know what a pull file is, it's when you go to a comic book store and you go, I'd like Captain America and the Hulk, Spider-Man, and some image books or something, maybe Spawn. I'd like that in my pull file. What that means is every month when a new book comes out of that title, the comic shop holder just goes, sure, puts it in a little box for you. So the next time you come in, here's your file. And you just buy that and you're like, thank you. It's just your reading list, right? What I absolutely hated about that was like I'd grab it, oh, Captain America, read it. I'm done in 5 to 10 minutes. That's how long I'd read comics for. I rarely go back through them, even as an artist. I might look at individual panels and draw them from time to time, but I remember getting my file. Maybe I grab a coffee or something, and maybe about a half hour. I'd read it all. It's like, cool. Now I just wait a month. I hated that. When I started getting into manga a little bit, I was like, this is much better. I'm getting like that. And it comes out maybe, like if you get into a good manga that's got books out for a while, you could just boom, boom, Netflix that thing, right? Just chain buy them. Or if you're getting one that's out, it might be a month, 2, 3 months before the next one comes out, but it's substantial. So when you're doing stuff like you guys are saying, right? And I'm agreeing with you. When comics come out and they're, I can't imagine backing a comic book on Kickstarter or whatever, and then waiting a year. Two would be absolutely disgusting. And I'm talking about like no snafus along the way. It's just taking a long time to draw. It takes that long. And then I finally get it after I've probably forgotten it or I got upset that, or the creator sending me updates. Hey guys, still doing my best. And then I get the book and I read it in 5 minutes and that's it. It's just like, Where's the excitement in that? In my mind, ideally, and I don't know how it works yet because I haven't gone through the workflow of it yet, but I'm sure I'm going to get a lesson very soon of, okay, so, hey guys, got a book. Would you like to check it out? I'm most likely I'm going to have, if not the whole thing, a good, at least maybe half of it online where you can read it for free. I'm a big fan of, try it before you buy it. Send people over there, they can like it, cool. If it's up for a month or whatever, if you want it, boom, you get it. And then from there, you just go right into, okay, here it's done. Put the order in China or Canada, wherever it's getting printed. Let's assume it's a month to 2 months to get it printed, right? So and then shipped. I'd say within 6 months would be ideal. That's about it. The only other option, right, is after that fact. Oh man, these cats. The only other option, I suppose, other than that, is to have them already printed and like a store, and then you're shipping them as people buy them. That one's a lot more, lot of risk. So that's one of the benefits of the crowdfunding stuff, right? Is that you can, if you're interested, you can help fund it and then get it yourself. But then you get to do some really cool stuff. Depending how much money you make and how much money you want to put back into the book. Are you coming in, JESOP, or what? What are you doing? You want to come lay down or what? Okay, you coming in to sleep, or what are you doing? He's licking the floor. Okay, get out of here. All right. So anyway, let me keep going here. See you, Lewis. Thanks for popping in, brother. Eric saying I crowdfunded the first issue of the Zombie Full World of Oz last year and had the whole thing done. And had the whole thing done first, launching the second issue next month. Oh, good for you, brother. I would definitely back you. I like the work you do. Just don't burn us. It would never be my goal to go into something to burn people. Raphael, welcome in. Yeah, thank you. I'm doing what I can here. Son of a J, cool. Thanks. Check it out. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. You're keeping me company while I draw. See, that's what I figured. Jack. Gary Vee is good for motivation, but his content is all over the place. Take it with a grain of salt. John is right. Create content and build your following. It takes well. Also, yeah, he's all over the place. I know. I have an idea why he does that. Right? He's trying to have a different voice on different what he thinks that medium is. So he'll act a certain way on Twitter. He'll act a certain way on YouTube. That kind of thing. But the core message that he usually always has, right, is just do that. Create content and build a following. It's gonna take time. Exactly like Jack said. And it doesn't matter where you are when you're doing that, but at the core of it always is you have to make content. And even if the content is just your journey of trying to figure all this out, it's content. It's content. All right, how's this green looking? You know what? Let's try some green over here too. I'm about to lose my cool with these cats, man. All right. Go. Are you done? The hard part is they keep meowing, and the baby's sleeping, right? So if they wake the baby up, oh man, there's gonna be some trouble. Could be some trouble. A day job is important not to carry the weight of your living on your art. Could be a nasty road. Yep. Raphael, here in Brazil, the crowdfunding method has helped the indie comic scene immensely. It has allowed authors to put out publications and also make decent amount of money on conventions. Yep. I think one of the is misnomer the right word? One of the things that a lot of people thought or think, and I thought about this too, and I'm sure it's part of it might be real. But let's say, I don't know, you make 50 grand on a Kickstarter for a comic. Like, I don't think you pocket that much after shipping. And especially if you're putting more into the book, like if you go, okay, well, we made a whole bunch of money, so I want to make the book itself juicy. And the juicier you're going, let's not go full yellow here. So the juicier you go, the better the book looks. That means less money in your pocket, right? But I have to imagine too, like there's some people that I can't imagine you make a living off Kickstarters. Maybe you do. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. We'll see. Before we get there, that's the carrot on the stick, right? It's getting something made. Before we even get anywhere close to that, we gotta make something. Gotta make something. Right now we're just talking. Gotta make something. All right. I'm just looking for spots to put some to break up some of these colors here. You can see his suits on the right. This dude looking thing, real. These are old designs, man. Old designs. Maybe what if we do yellow in here? How's that look? Yeah, I like it. Cool. Okay, so this guy's actually maybe we can get a little. Oh, I didn't talk about what I'm doing here. So here on, can you guys see this? Let me see. I don't know. My face is. No, you might be able to see it. So this one here, I'll bring this whole thing out so you can see. Right here, turn all these layers off. This is a masking layer, I call it. Right, it's the shape of the guy, or wherever you want the color. So that would be the selection, right? What you do is you make a new layer, and you click this button right up here. It's clip to layer below, and what that does is just clips it. So no matter what you do, you can't go past it. See? So it makes doing flats in particular, or just coloring in general, a lot easier. So that's what we're doing right now. We're just picking colors and going in. And I like to do per color because sometimes, right, like I've already got my color samples here, but for these two dudes, they don't have colors yet. But let's say I want that green, but I'm like, maybe I want it like neon green, right? I can pick my green color, lock the transparency, and just fill it. Get something new. So that's why we're doing that. Raphael saying, so normally any author will put out a book a year, 60 to 70 pages. Great print quality with a print run of 3,000 copies. The crowdfunding money goes almost exclusively 60 to 75% into paying the cost. That's okay. Those numbers are about adding up. Now the scary part is the volume that he's getting printed. I would argue if you could get 3,000 people to buy a book off of a Kickstarter, that's phenomenal. Maybe I'm just not well versed into like, no, that's kind of where you're going. I hear kind of what Raphael's saying there, where it's like you're paying for a chunk to get printed, so that you're not eating all that cost, and then the idea is, yes, you get people that are interested in it to get a copy, but then you're also going to conventions to sort of like sell the rest. That's the part where I'm a little like I don't really have intentions to go to a convention. So I guess the alternative is just to have an online store where people could buy it, right? And I'm not opposed to that, but let's just talk conservative here, right? If I get 100 people interested in buying a book, that's great. To me, that's pretty crazy. So if I was getting a print run, in this case of 3,000, I'm stuck with what, 2,900 books? I don't think I'll ever in my lifetime get rid of all that. So that's like a rule. Then maybe 1,000 copies go to the backers, and then maybe 2,000 are already paid and available to be sold. And that is the thing too, right? So they are paid for, like Raphael was saying. So thanks for also pointing that out. So there's no cost except that they're here. For shipping, I guess, is about the only cost. But usually people are going to pay for that. But you still got to move it. If you're going to conventions, you got to lug all that stuff. This is just the real talk stuff, the non-fancy. It's fun to just talk about the stuff like being made, as opposed to how greasy it is to actually make it. All right, let's color this guy. What color? Is that a good brown? Is that a good brown? All right, we'll do there. Let's get a lab coat on this guy. I want to keep it warm, so just kind of go up here. Just going to like a warm gray. Just fill it in. How's that looking? Maybe. I'm going to put a darker color in the background for now, like a mid-tone gray, just to sort of balance these colors out so I can see what the hell they're looking like. It's funny what color it is, eh? Like on your guys' screen, this might look like a cream or like a gray, but it's actually like a very light tan. Okay, so let's give him an opposite shirt color. Be a good. This guy is a good guy, so maybe we can go into like the blues for a shirt, like a little muted blue. We'll just darken it up a bit. I'm trying not to go too saturated on stuff anymore. I'm doing my best. I'm trying to get better at color in here. Yeah, I don't mind that. Cool. Okay, so we'll go here, and then what we're gonna do is we got to give this cat a tie. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that yellow, because it's still like a heroic kind of color, right? Let's go like here, just to make it so the tie kind of pops a little bit. You know, something like that. Something like that, maybe. Alright, I don't mind it. Alright, let's get his sexy afro going here. Go here. We'll still keep it warm. I'm going to desaturate it here. Gotta be careful because I know it's all black back there. And he can very easily disappear. Let's just draw this in. How's that looking? I might have to lighten up his skin a little bit here. My fear is like, because I don't get to see any of the test prints of this stuff. Ideally, what I would like to do one day is have like swatches that I know are really good print. Like I have some Marvel swatches, but I do also like being able to pull in my own kind of stuff. But the problem with that is like what I'm about to say, right? Where it's like, depending on where this gets printed, if it's too dark, right? Like it's just lost. And we don't like that because I don't think I'm doing highlights. We might do highlights. I'm not sure yet. But shadows for sure. And then some blend modes. Raphael is also saying, and that's a great thing. It allows authors to not be shackled to a publisher. That right there alone is worth kickstarting or just crowdfunding for sure. And that money goes 100% to pocket. Last 5 years have seen a boom of indie authors publishing that never did before. Absolutely. Hey, Will. Will's back. Quarantine. I actually like that. It's got a nice ring to it. Quarantine. Nice, dude. Okay, so we've got a lot of warm colors. So let's put a cool background. I know we just put a gray down there. So if we're kind of browns and greens, so like a purplish blue. And I'm just going to fiddle with some colors here. I'm not saying these are going to be the ones we're going to go with just yet. Like I definitely think darker is the way to go. So our eye kind of, let's just leave it here. Let's leave it there, walk away. All right, let's get this vision looking dude. All right, we need a color for him. What color are you going to be? I like a slick metal. Might be nice. The idea here that I'm assuming is like here's the old bulky suit, right? And he's kind of putting that AI into the new one. So the colors I think should be the same but different. I don't know if you would. You know what? Let's maybe go. Maybe red. Red can get dicey. Maybe we'll do like a. I'm trying to think like a silver slick metal. Trying to think like if Iron Man updated his suit, right? Like you always kind of bringing the same colors along. But I gave it like a military kind of look, this version. That's why it's all like these camo colors. I don't think brown. Well, let's try it, like a reddish. Let's just see. You love the yellow tie? Okay, cool. Then it worked. How's that now? Now he's starting to look maybe a little bit too much like a human. We're just gonna fiddle around a little bit here. I always like superheroes to be. This is one of the reasons why I'm not a huge Batman fan. Is I don't like. I don't want to say I don't like, but I prefer my heroes to be a little bit pushed, like better than a traditional human, right? Captain America might be the exception, but I'm more of a Superman fan, right? Where it's like there's human qualities in there, but the look is like the idealistic version of it's a superhero, right? Like I don't so when I put Batman next to Superman, this is gonna get into another thing. I put Batman next to Superman. Batman, like his design is awesome, bar none, great. But then when you scratch the surface, it's like for me, like I don't have an interest in the guy myself. Superman arguably is more boring, but when I look at him, visually he's more stunning and appealing to me. I like those bright, bold colors as a hero. I can quickly go, boom, that one's a superhero. Batman, if you didn't read comics, you might look and go, that might be a villain, right? And then the story part is where it kind of gets in there. So I like the nice, bright, bold colors on the heroes, especially if I know 100% that they're a hero, right? They don't do anything that might be less than, or not less than, but like break the law in a way that might help, kind of thing. Does that make sense? This is just sort of what I'm thinking of for color, right? And arguably, I mean, like his first suit is military, so it's more defense, more. He's a hero, so he's got some offense, maybe more of like a war machine as opposed to Iron Man. I think those are two different characters. So thinking in that, maybe what we'll do then is we'll make him a little colder. A little colder. Back to the gray. We'll have to change the color, the table color. See, when you start going into here, it starts to look like he has no life. There's no, you know. Although we might be able to do, you know what? We're gonna stick with this just to play with it a bit. Make a new layer, and maybe the whatever the hell I'm trying to say, the life in them. We can start pushing some saturation in there. These cables will change a color too. So just so it's easier to see, let's just go ahead and put those. I don't know, like a weird purple for now. Raphael saying, my girlfriend and I did 2 crowdfunding books, now planning a third, but everything you said applies. The real job is you need to build a following to your work. YouTube, Instagram, social media, rough. And how's everything going, man? What are some things you've learned along the way with your crowdfunding stuff? And the books you guys are putting out, are they... actually do this. Can you post links? Or let people know where they can go on your websites and stuff like that to pick up your work? But the books that you guys have done, have they been comics or are they like art books? Or is it something else? How bright is that? Okay, I'm just gonna float with this for just bear with me. Try to figure some of this out. One of the lipstick. Come on, what the hell am I doing? One of the things I'm trying to get better at is this is I still call it the same thing. The JESOP King workflow is when you have color flats on characters like this in certain lighting, like nighttime or daytime, or in a cave or in an ice cave, color changes, right? At nighttime, daytime. But when you work with color flats, it's like, or like the actual flats of the character, as you can see, like this dude, he's just all the colors here are. There's like a blending mode I'll add on top that can affect them. But what I'm finding is that might not be the most effective way to color to push it. So like if they're in a darker thing, blues and stuff could maybe turn more gray. Reds turn like black almost, that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to think about that stuff, but the speed of what I'm doing with this is it's hard to it's hard to fight. But there's some definite trade-offs that come from this. So we're gonna see how this kind of works as we go here. Just bear with me. Like, so this, why I'm saying all that is like this dude here and even the black guy up here, it's all very I don't know their colors just yet, right? So we're trying to figure it out, and that's why we're getting into the more creative discussion with this. Like, well, what color? Like if he's a war machine, or if he's a machine of war, might be a better way of saying it. Would his colors be just a little different? Does he need to feel more warm and more like a hero? That kind of stuff. Just for some context as to what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, we didn't put a line up here because we forgot. Bad artist. See, like I don't know if these are the right colors, but I'm already digging kind of where this is going. Looks like little plates, right? It's still kind of cool. We learned that the writing, drawing part is the easiest one. Shipping, social media, content creation to maintain the following, that's the real hassle. Okay. All right. I guess it's like whatever you're not naturally doing is the hard part, right? A lot of people are just busy making, not posting online about what they're doing. It's good to hear, though. It's eye-opening stuff for anybody that's trying to. You know what? I would even argue too. If you don't crowdfund, like if you're not abusing your social media, people don't know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Let's say you work at a company, or I don't know, you do this or that. Let's say you're even making good money doing something. But if you're not posting all the time on social media, you're still at the risk, very real risk, I would say, of people still have to come to you to find out who you are, no matter what the title is that you're on or the project you're on. And then I would argue too that it kind of goes back into my feeling anyway of back in the day the old mailing lists, which I think are still pretty relevant. But like when you move between projects or clients and stuff, people think they lose track of who you are. There's too much out there. At least it's been, I don't know, my escape. What's that? Will want me to hop on a call with you? I'm wondering how. Let me see. All right, so I'm streaming through like an actual streaming thing. I don't know how we could. What could we do? Skype or something? And I might be able to just feed your audio in. What do you have? Skype or what's the way you'd want to talk? We could give it a shot. Well, Raphael, I have to say though, the Brazilian market is way different from the rest of the world. Okay, in what way? Are they just craving content? Or maybe it's a specific kind of content? Okay, we might change the eye color here. What we're going to do is we're going to select this layer. And we're going to go layer, new correction layer, hue, saturation. I'm just going to slide around. Sometimes we can get like a nice cool color here. We are not getting that right now. Skype's good. Okay, just let me know when you're set up or whatever, and I'll log in. We'll see if we can get you in here, brother. Okay, so when I can't figure out a color on my own, I'm going to look online for color. Superhero colors. I'm just doing this off screen. Sometimes things pop up on the internet. I don't want to get in trouble. Actually, let me bring this up real quick. This just goes to my point. I'm just going to say, see, I told you. It's not true. Let me click on here. So I was saying that Batman Superman thing. Check this out. This is one of the things I love about older comics as opposed to newer comics generally. And I mean, just comics just let's make more comics, which is cool. But actually, is this too high? Can you see it? No, it works out perfect. Okay, so Superman, right? Like his stance alone, that's that typical masculine superhero, right? Whatever. They all look great. Batman, even the way he's holding himself, right? Like you can tell he's like the anti-hero kind of feel, right? Excuse me, which is fine. But when you look at the colors, right? Like these older colors, like he's a dark character, but it's still the primary colors. He still has the blue and the yellow. There's no red, right? But he's using 2 out of the 3 primaries. Shazam's using 2 out of the 3. Soups is just all of it. Same with Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? But this version of Batman with the blue, this is why I like this one so much. Whenever I color Batman, I generally go this direction because he looks like a hero here with those colors. When he starts getting just all black, you know, like the Michael Keaton, how he's called it feels like a different Batman. And I know a lot of people like that one and stuff, and God bless. But to me, when I'm looking at the hero version, there's something about this one that's a little maybe cartoony is the right way of looking at it. But this is sort of like the vibe I like for superheroes. The overblown, like it can look nice. One of the great examples I always bring up for myself is like Captain America, like the Ultimates version of Captain America, when he's got like military boots with laces, and even though like I draw the laces and stuff like that, this I like this stuff. This stuff is simple. It's easy to read. And that's something I think I don't know. I know I got caught up, and I guess I still kind of do with designs and all that. Is like it's maybe it's just the way the world is now, right? Where more detail look makes it seem like it's better art. Even though when you look at this, arguably your brain doesn't have to work as hard. You can just consume the story easier. I don't know. I'm just talking. Okay, you ready? Okay, just give me one quick sec. Actually, I'm not going to make you wait. Let me move this over here. 1 second, my friends. We'll just even get Will Robson into the chat. And Will, are you open for questions while I'm getting you loaded up? I'm going to assume he says yes, but so Marvel. Will's working for Marvel right now. He just wrapped up Spider-Ham. He's done Guardians of the Galaxy and some other sick ass work. The big one, what is it? I always forget the name of it. And I apologize, brother. Is it West Coast Avengers? Is that what it was? Or Great Lake Avengers? That's what it was. So if you guys have any questions for him, by all means, ask away in the chat. It's not every day you guys get to talk to a Marvel artist. All right, let me. I haven't booted up Skype in so long, so bear with me on this one, okay, guys? Sign in. One second, guys. Okay, you coming in an app or what? I can't keep opening the door, Bobo. Come on. Here, you want to sit in the chair? You have to use the washroom? Okay. Okay, I see Will here. Let me just see if we can call you. Got it. Make this call. Skype needs permission to use your microphone. Okay. 1 second. This is how much I've used it. I don't have any settings in here. Audio, video, no camera, microphone. Interesting. Weird. It's saying apparently I don't have a microphone. Maybe because it's taken up through how I'm streaming. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Settings, gear, privacy. Okay. Settings, gear. Where's that? Bear with me, my friends. That's I must be missing something here. It's funny. It's like, oh, right here, this is where you need to go, do this and that, and naturally, it's not there, right? It's like that out of date settings. All right, guys, give me a second. Come on, old man. I know. Where we go for this? Where are you? Okay. It's not here. It's not here. All I want is to be able to do this. You know what I mean? Your profile, your account. All right. Let me just reread something. So I go click to call. It says to make this call, Skype needs permission to use your microphone. Okay. Go to start, then select settings gear. Oh, unless it's talking about my computer. Settings gear. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, they mean the gear. Oh my god. I thought it had to do with Skype itself. Privacy microphone. Okay. One second. Microphone. All right. Where's Skype? There it is. Okay. All right. Let me restart Skype. Isn't this fun, guys? You guys having fun? Sure. Yeah. Close. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right. Log in. Settings. Audio and video. There we go. Okay, it might be loud as hell. Oh, that test audio button. Oh, that's gas, isn't that? Do. Okay. Let's try it out here. So I'm gonna call Will now. Let me also set up so you guys can hear my desktop audio, so you can hear Will. Oh god. All right. We're gonna fiddle with some settings, guys. This is all good. This is good. Here, let's see if this works. Say something.
Hello.
All right, should be good on my end. We'll let the stream let us know if it's working. Hey, Paul, how's it going?
Anybody hear me?
Let Will know if you can hear his sexy voice.
Stop quarantine.
That's actually like such a funny thing, man. It's quarantine.
I have your stream up on my TV, even though it's like probably delayed by a minute.
I think it is, yeah. Elena came in here the other day. She she opened the door. She's like, "Hey, do you know that it's like what you're saying is not actually happening? It's like delayed."
It's weird.
Yeah. I think I have a setting turned on in case I don't know, somebody comes in or something. A lot of topless people over here.
So how you doing? How's actually drawing all day every day going for you?
Oh, you guys can hear him? Great. No, dude, it's going awesome. I feel like how do I word this? When I was doing the standard before you came in and saved the day, there was I was doing that. I was doing this like full-time freelance thing, but I wasn't taking it as seriously as I should have. And because of that, it was like gigs ran out real quick, and what I had to do was go get a job. And it was like one of my regrets. I'm like, what would have happened? And I mean, we're only like a week in of me just staying at home to draw, and it feels very refreshing, and it feels like there's hope, I guess, at the end. Like something good can come from this. So
Right.
I'm just doing my best to stay disciplined while I can, right? Because I've got like Alexander and Elena and stuff to take care of, as well as myself. And there is it's different now, where it's like, okay, this is kind of fun right now, but once the world kind of starts returning to normal, and then the current checks or the unemployment stops, that money's got to come from somewhere. So right now, I'm trying not to like that is in the future. It's going to happen, but I'm just trying to focus on maximizing what I have right now. And to answer your question in a very really long way, it feels good. Feels good. Feels kind of like
Do you
home.
think? Do you think you going to use this time to like maybe try and do this working from home drawing full time? See if make moves that way, or are you just letting shit happen? Well, sorry for swearing, letting stuff happen.
That's okay.
And yeah.
So what do you mean by that?
I mean, like, are you like right? Are you deciding maybe that this is this lifestyle suits you, and like maybe you want to, instead of going back to working for your previous job, maybe continue doing what you're doing now?
That's a good question.
Not to just jump into a stream and give you like hard life questions.
Oh no, no. Hey man, that's why I miss having talks with you. We used to go through the real stuff. You know what I mean? And we don't talk anymore, man. We just we shoot text back and forth, but I miss our old chats and stuff that we always used to do. Like right in the morning,
Yeah.
remember? He was boot up. Anyway, it's hard to say. I mean, I guess it depends what starts opening up. Like what opportunities start coming and going. And I know a lot of that's just going to be based on me. It's up to me to make those things happen, right? And it's exciting, I'll tell you that, because like right now with to be real, I guess, is like the cash. It's not a huge issue right now, but it allows me to sort of just be not worrying about it, and I can just worry about next steps and like kind of what I'm doing to make sure everybody at home is going to be fed, as well as the chance of what could happen from this kind of thing. So like I have an attack plan, and I'm going to do it, and then we'll see what happens from there, and then make an assumption at the end of that to see if it's worth keep pursuing, or if it's okay, just back off, go back to the way life sort of was before if I can, and then go back and forth.
Well, it's very interesting, and I'm sure a lot of people during this time that can't, have lost their jobs or going for anything are gonna, and our creative people are looking at different options. Because right now, this is the time when people are craving creative content.
Yep, I agree, man. Yeah, I think I was telling you, I definitely think this is going to be at the end of all this. The amount of creative people that are stuck at home right now, and then I think a lot of creatives, like even if you're in games or like I was, design's always the first to be let go, because it can be replaced by other people, sadly, and developers, programmers, people that actually make the thing run, definitely have a foot in the door when it comes to that kind of stuff, because that's actual difference there. So I mean, yeah, it's interesting, but a lot of cats are going to be stuck at home, and this could be that push that they needed to just go. Like there's that comfort of the day job. You know what I mean? Like you get that check, you get the benefits and all that. But artists, anyway, at least that I've found it to be true. It's like there's this other thing that we've always tried to do, and maybe you're not being 100% aggressive with it, and you get stale, I guess, and you just sort of like stick with, well, this is the routine, this is what my life is, right? And
I mean, but even that happens for me, and I'm working full time, for a big company. But at the same time, it's that deadline pressure. You're not producing the artwork that you can do, but that's not what the business calls for. It's not calling for, hey, make the best art possible. It's like, hey, hit this deadline and we'll keep giving you work. And I totally understand that. But it cannot be, it's not as, a lot of people say, you should never expect your dream to be exactly what your dream's going to be.
Sure, yeah.
Because it's not. Like, my dream was to work for Marvel. And look, I'm very happy. Honestly, I'm not complaining. If any of my editors are listening, I'm very, very happy.
Sure.
But it's not like as glamorous as you think it is. It's tough work. It's really tough to be a full-time comic book artist, and that's why I'm making personal moves to do my own creative stuff, so I can basically not work as many hours as I do.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell people about what you're working on?
Well, I'm working on a independent video game. It's called Dino Zombies. It's like the oldest property I've made. I created it when I was like 12 because I loved Jurassic Park as a kid, and for some reason I love zombie movies as a kid as well, because I think I saw remember the Michael Jackson Thriller music video?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, well, that scarred me for life as a kid. All those zombies scared the shit out of me.
Really?
So since then, yeah, it did. So since then, I've just been obsessed with that. So now I love retro games and things, and I've been building up a retro game collection, and I really love video games, and I wanted to know what it's like, and it's taken me a good year to finally find an engine that makes sense to me. Because coding, that's just my god. Like it was hard to learn how to draw, but to learn how to code is something else. But it's stuff is starting to click now. I understand the way it works a little bit more, and yeah, my game's in development, and I should have a free demo out by the end of the year, which is really exciting.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome, man. I can't wait for it. Like I know, like the thing you sent me yesterday that I replied to
Yeah,
there. Again, that concept, I feel like it reminds me back in like the '90s, I guess early 2000s, where everything was like get two things, mash it together, and like that's the thing.
yeah.
And if you like those sort of concepts, like that's why I dug that one. I'm a big fan of that stuff. So when I heard it, I'm like, I just I want a comic and a story just about that guy, just that thing. You know what I mean? Like I've never heard of
hmm
those two put together before, and I don't know, it rubbed me the right way.
Yeah, it's just exciting, and I feel like I have something special. And like I was saying in your stream yesterday, of course I want to market it, and I want it to be successful because a big dream of mine would be like the head of my own games company, creating just my own content.
Sure, yeah,
Like basically my own version of Image Comics, but in terms of games, that's in my wildest dreams. But at the end of the day, I just really want to. I just want to play this game. Like when I try it out, like when I demo stuff, it's so fun. Like I just love beat 'em ups,
yep,
and like the fact that I've got one that has that same fun gameplay feel, where you're just beating the crap out of zombies and zombie dinosaurs, and it's great. I love it.
yeah. I can't wait for it, man. Do you have like a? I know this is probably. I don't. Maybe you have an answer. Do you have like a when you're hoping to have a demo?
I'd like to have. At first, when I started out coding, I was like, I probably want to have a demo for a couple of years.
Okay.
But now stuff has really been clicking. I've made a ton of different enemy types, and like it's the process is moving much smoother now. Where I work on it every single day. I'm quite good at balancing my work and then rewarding myself with working on my game.
Mm-hmm.
And then on weekends is just free game making, baby. Um, so I do think like even possibly by the end of the summer I might have
Oh wow.
a true demo out. There's stuff that I still need to figure out that's huge. Like I've got the enemies working, the player. I've got weapons working. So the classic: you pick up a pipe. You punch a barrel. There's a pipe in it. You use the pipe to smack people up. I've got all that working, which is awesome because that's tough stuff. But the stuff I'm having trouble with is since it's not just a beat 'em up. I'm trying to make it a survival horror game as well. Like I'm trying to make an inventory, which is just stupid difficult for some reason. Like just having an inventory system, and I'm trying to have a leveling system, which isn't too bad, but I don't even want to tackle it yet. And just a bunch of other little things. I'm also I'm doing the classic sort of Resident Evil thing as well, where you have two stories in one. There's like a file A and file B. And
Oh okay.
file B is I'm even more stupid because it's not just going to be a beat 'em up survival horror survive 'em up. It's also going to be start in the style of a Metal Gear Solid game where you have to sneak around and avoid enemies and stuff. And I'm like, why am I doing this? You're doing it because it's going to be fucking awesome. That's why you're doing
Yeah,
it.
that's why you do it. Yeah. No, that's
But
great, man.
yeah, it's I've given up on this so many times because the coding just hurt my brain and I felt like an idiot. And I didn't really want to commit to learning such a skill. But
Sure.
that was just because I was using Unity, which is a great program, but it's for people that really know their coding. But now I use Game Maker Studio 2, and like this it just comes with like a great manual as well, and there's loads of people you could just ask questions and they're willing to help and stuff. And yeah, it's good. So anyway, comics, right?
No. That's just what we're doing. But yeah, no, we can talk about whatever, man. I dig that. Is there anybody? Sorry, Raphael was saying, Will, did you ever see the funding contest Fiverr is doing?
Sorry, say that again. You broke up.
Oh, Will, did you see the funding contest Fiverr is doing?
The funding contest? No.
Yeah, isn't Fiverr like a bunch of design stuff where you spend $5 or something like that? I don't know. Fiverr's not something like I've heard of it, but I've never really checked it out.
No, I've never heard of it. So no, I haven't.
Sorry,
Sorry.
yeah, Raphael. Okay, sorry. Fiverr put out a contest for game creation. Oh, here we go. Where you submit your idea and you can win 25K in credit to use in Fiverr and hire people to work on your game. That's interesting.
Sorry, my connection's getting bad for some reason. I'll just read the question he said to myself.
Okay.
Well, that's cool. 25K. That's nothing.
Yeah.
In the game making world, that'll buy you like a couple days. And someone will be like, yeah, I need like triple that.
Yep.
That was another thing, because originally I was going to pay lots of like people that knew coding to do stuff, but the stuff they quoted, like, okay, so to make your basic demo, your engine, it's going to cost about 75 to 100,000. I'm like, no.
Yep. Yeah, it's no joke. But at the same time, I think Fiverr, just to ride on that, I think that's like the idea is people on there, they're quoting cheaper prices. Could be wrong. So it's 25K and it might actually push you a little bit further, but at the same time, it's not like the people I would argue you were looking for were people that have either worked in games or they're very fluent in design.
But also, since I'm doing all the art and the coding and like music and everything myself, I've come to learn now that it's much better for me to follow the tutorial and do stuff myself, because it just helps me in the long term for better understanding how this all works. Because I've used other people's stuff and put it into the game, and I just have no idea how it works at all.
Sure.
And I like to actually know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a cool idea. The other thing is like, I mean, I'm making a beat 'em up, and the reason, like, people like, oh, why does no one make beat 'em ups anymore? I love them. And you think like, oh, there's loads of indie people making games, and it's like all they do is make platformers and stuff. Like, do you know why? It's so freaking easy to make a platformer. Oh my god! And a beat 'em up is like, everyone says like it's one of the hardest games to make, because you have to invent gravity, you have to invent like spatial awareness on a 2D playing field, and like people are like, I don't even know how they did this back in the 90s. And I'm like, I don't know either. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, how would they have done that? Would it just have been like, because the programming back then much simpler, right?
I know. Like I know some of it, like in the sense of when you're walking on a certain plane, you have stuff that says like is on ground equals true, and if you jump, then is on ground is not true, etc., and all that crazy stuff. But it's tough. Like it's like it really hurts your brain. That's why I can only focus on a little at a time. Otherwise, I've just had many sleepless nights going, is true, false, 0 equals x times 3, and trying to like come up with like a mathematician like cracking the code. It's so weird.
Yeah. You see you waking up in a cold sweat.
Yeah.
X equals true. X equals true. X equals.
And I have all these notes as well that just look like a mad scientist. Like it's like if this equals 2 in parentheses times y minus 13. Like I'm like, before I'd be like, I don't know what that means, but luckily now I'm getting hang of it. I got my wife as a game tester as well, which is fun.
Yeah.
And it's so refreshing to have that, because like, for instance, there was such a stupid thing where I have barrels in the game, right, where you punch them and you get stuff from them. And I have 3 different color barrels. I just did this randomly. I was like, silver, bronze, and gold. Probably in my head, I wasn't even thinking that it was like, those are the reward colors.
Mm-hmm.
So she punched a gold barrel and there was nothing in it. She was like, what the hell? It's like, what? She's like, it's a gold barrel. It should have like something good in it. I was like, oh, it should have something good in it.
All the stuff you're talking about when the game studio I was working at, it's the same thing, dude. It's and I'm glad you're going through it because it's hilarious. It's like there's this whole testing phase where you'll spend time with the project for a while, and then you have to go look at it, especially when it comes to like making a tutorial or something, and you have to almost try to unlearn everything and look at it with virgin eyes and see it objectively. And it's hard to do that because like you've been testing it, right? And
Yeah.
this means that, this means this, and some of the things people will pick up that you weren't even aware of are just like, how did you even think of that?
Yeah, it's gold.
It's hilarious. Oh, it's good, man. I'm glad you're having fun with it, though.
I am. I'm having lots of fun with it, and it's true creative expression for me because I have a lot of different interests. Like
Hmm.
I love art, obviously. Music was a huge passion of mine as well. So I remember I already shared you some of those sort of Streets of Rage techno beats I've been making for the game,
They're great.
which is awesome. And then there's that as well. I'm going to do some acting in it as well with voice stuff, and yeah, it's a huge combination of all my like big interests: art, games, storytelling, music. It's just I was like, man, I might be really onto something that is truly creatively satisfying for me.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that, man. Like
And I haven't
another
given up yet.
no, and you won't. You won't.
No, I
That's
won't.
not you. So, are you allowed to talk about it all? What you're working on, or is it just Marvel stuff?
I'm not allowed to.
Okay,
Um, but I am on a new Marvel book. When that will come out, who knows?
sure.
I've also been moving a bit slow because of obviously all the what's going on in the world. And I even said to Marvel today, I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry that I'm handing a page slow." And they're like, "Honestly, don't worry about it. Like shit's going down. It's fine." So that made me
Yeah,
feel a bit better.
that's good.
Not like there's a rush to the printers, eh? Since they've shut down.
Well, that's sort of. I don't know if you heard me talking earlier. I'm like, okay, so crowdfunding is interesting, but like, how does that work now? How does that like not? I know there's one printer. I think it's a Comicsgate group, or whatever. But because they also print other publications, so they're allowed to stay open. But there's
Yeah.
some that are just like comics only or something, and
There's loads
that's
of
getting.
printers. It's just that Diamond has the monopoly on it. That's all.
Oh, sure, yeah. So I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms there. I just meant like to actually get it printed and shipped. I don't know if any of that's closing down. Like,
Yeah.
I'm assuming some are, and I'm alien to a lot of this stuff. It's just like, okay, so make book, send to printer, send to people, and you're done. But right now, I don't know how all that still kind of goes together when I'm not sure what's open and closed and that kind of thing. So who knows? Let's be honest. The art and books need to be finished first before they can even get to a printer. So horse in front of the carriage kind of thing.
Well, this is the thing is I was been drawing Spider Ham,
Hmm.
and the final issue I don't think is coming out because of this currently,
Oh, really?
or maybe it's out digitally. I don't know, but I know that people can't get the printed version right now,
That's too bad.
and that's going to be annoying because it's it's the final issue. It wraps everything up.
Sounds like Battle Chasers. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
here's the next issue, and it never comes. And you're like, but I want to know what happened. Gully got captured. What happened?
play the video game.
Play it. Yeah. Oh man. So those that are in the chat too, I'll just throw it out there. Feel free to ask Will anything too. He's if you guys, I hope you guys all remember Will from back when we were doing streams, way back in the day before he was a big shot in Marvel Comics. But I always throw this out to you guys too. Please ask questions for people that aren't in the chat and that aren't able to make it during the streams because a lot of questions that people think they have and they wish they could make it to a stream, they're not able to do so. So if you had any, maybe what would be a good question? Maybe I don't want to say, hey, why do you draw? Will, like what turns you on? Maybe more along the lines of like just maybe what a work day or something looks like for somebody that's doing this stuff professionally, or how do you get? I don't want to say get work because I think that's you probably ask that all the time. But
I can cover stuff like look like when I first started drawing comics and trying to pursue it as a career. 11 years ago, you were one of the first people I went to because you were a guy online making comics, and all the advice you gave me really, tremendously helped me. So I'm very happy to pass on any sort of knowledge I can. And I still have questions for you. I don't know half the stuff you do. The thing you posted the other day, like what looked like a kind of Wonder Woman like character, and I was like, man, I really like the rendering in her hair. I was like, why can't I do that? I was like, I fucking work for Marvel. Why can't I do that?
well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Should I stop swearing? I'm sorry. I
No, I don't
always
care.
realize I swear a lot.
That's fine. The 4 kids is turned off, so
I don't know if there's kids watching. Oh, okay.
That'd be funny if there's like a live
So,
beeping thing. You know, like if somebody swears, it just bleeps it out.
we can give some people a job that don't have a job right now.
There you go.
They have to guess my speech patterns and guess when I'm going to swear.
So the workday's going all right so far. How many hours in are you?
Well, I guess I could tell you what my usual work day is.
Sure.
A little bit of, I guess, comedy thrown in. So I wake up. Usually I have to wake up at 6 to take my dog out for a wee, which is very annoying because it means I don't really get back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then I lay there, and then I wake up and I fall back asleep, wake up, fall back asleep. And then about 8:30, I start playing Animal Crossing, New Horizons. And I play that for a good half an hour to 45 minutes.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that in a second, but keep going.
I get up, I have breakfast, have a cigarette, and then I get working and I judge what I need to do for the day. My goal is always to try and get a page done a day, but depending on the book, it varies. Like with Spider Ham, I was able to accomplish that because there was a lot of cartoony stuff.
Hmm.
Right now, the book I'm drawing, I'm drawing so many superheroes, characters I've never drawn before. It's not a team book, but there's a lot of cameos that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's slowing me down tremendously because it's I guess it doesn't spoil anything because some of these people just appear on one page. Right now I'm drawing Scarlet Witch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Never drawn her before, and then also you go like, all right, well, what's her current costume? And then you go look that up. You go look at that up and all that stuff. And usually I ask editors for all that stuff. But also the book I'm working on, I've never it's read much material from it. So I'll see characters' names, and I don't know if they're just made up characters like new for the script, or if they're actually somebody. Like there was one page I was looking forward to drawing because I'm like, I'm going to draw this guy's like a really fat, nerdy guy, and like they're always really fun to draw, and I'm going to have him with buck teeth and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then I kept seeing his name on the script was like full last name and first name. I was like, well, let me just Google his name, Marvel, and it was the complete opposite of the character I was picturing. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, really?
That would have been a mistake. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Because that's the thing, is like, I think I have a tremendous knowledge of Marvel, but man, there are so many characters. I'm like, who is this? I had no idea this person existed. And I'm like, yeah, this person's like twice or triple as old as you are. I'm like, oh, wow, okay.
Oh,
all right,
Jesus.
well, I better get on it. And if you can hear snoring in the background, that's my Frenchie that's sleeping in my lap, which is a staple of my channel. But yeah, I look at what I have to do for the day. It really varies. Usually it was, right, I'm going to pencil a page before lunch, and then I'm going to try and ink it for the rest of the night. And then I got bored of that, so I like to switch it up where it's like, well, maybe I'll ink the page and try and get it done sort of just after lunch, and then I'll spend the evening penciling, and it really varies and stuff like that. But right now I'm behind 4 pages in my deadline, so I'm like, just whatever I can get done, get done.
Just get it done, man. Do you find like you've got like a... I know you sort of just went over the routine, but like, is there something you do that you notice really works?
Looking at my bank account.
Yeah. That'll do
That's
it.
very motivating.
Yeah.
I mean, because one of the things that's different for me now is this year, actually no, last year, middle of last year, I got married, and we decided that my wife didn't need to work anymore.
Well, that's a serious thing.
Yeah. So now it's like, hey, if you don't work, there is no money coming in at all.
Right.
So there's no time to like play a silly game or anything like that. Like, you got to go.
Just to
And that's
piggyback off that real quick. I'm gonna bring up Freddie Williams here for a second. I don't know if you've been following him. I know you know this already, but have you guys talked at all about? I'm gonna say again more of the Freddie stuff, but like how his wife helps him ink? I know.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
I have with him. Yeah, no, he's given me some really solid advice about stuff, and like, and also just like treating with like, I mean, I know that he didn't need to say because I'm obviously going to do that anyway, but just treating them with respect and stuff because it is tough to be, the partner of someone that works in this type of business and stuff like that. So that was nice to hear. And yeah, she's super involved. Like my wife wants to get more involved in what I do anyway. She's taken over my social media now
That's
because
perfect.
I'm just so inactive on it
Mm-hmm.
because I can't be bothered. I'm just too busy working. So now she's like, because I'm really bad at this stuff. She's like, did Spider Ham come out today? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, and she looks it up. She's like, it did. Okay, we have to post about it.
Yep.
And that's like stuff that I should really be on top of, but I'm just not. So she's doing all that. She's doing social media for my game and stuff like that. So just because to get more presence online. So
No, that's great, man. I'm glad that she's able to help you out with that because like I know I was talking about a little bit before. I don't know if you necessarily listen to him. That Gary V dude. Um, I talk about him a lot, but I found out about him at work, and yeah, this like what's going on right now is a great example why. And I agree. This is coming from him, and I'm butchering up how he said it, but like this sort of thing shows exactly why people need a social presence, especially if you're a creative, because if your day job like myself just sort of just disappears out of nowhere, what can you fall back on? And it's sort of like what have you been doing in all this time? It's just sort of you get lazy, you get comfortable, right? And if you're able to have an online presence, especially now, right? Like everybody's at home, everybody's looking for entertainment. Nobody wants to be home; they want to be out doing stuff. So doing like this stream or posting that you're working on your game and engaging with people, it's perfect. So if there's anything, I would just add to this too. This is for not Will necessarily, but everybody else. Like I would stop fence sitting with a lot of I don't want to look at Twitter and all these little social platforms and all that stuff. And there's a lot going on. I would argue definitely do that, man, because like you don't know who's going to be checking your stuff out. Like especially now that more people are home, somebody could have like tons of cash and they're a writer and they're looking for an artist, but they've never really pulled the trigger because they're a lawyer or something, right? And now they're stuck at home and they just stumble upon yours and you're like, oh that's a really cool style. I'd love to work with that person. And that's the thing that pushes them to go, you know what, I'm going to write that thing, and then they come to you, and you never know where these things kind of lead. Is where I'm sort of
yeah,
rambling to.
before
So
before I broke into Marvel, I nearly broke into DC Comics just from Twitter
yeah, okay,
because
great.
I had a retweet on something I drew, and a DC editor liked it and started following me. So I just started communicating with him, and then he said, "Oh yeah, send over your samples." And then at one point, I was nearly a filler-in artist on a Batman book, and I was like, "Oh my god, my life's beginning." But
This is
that
it.
never worked. That sadly never worked out. But even just like getting that opportunity there was amazing. So yeah, I think I was definitely more active when I wasn't working for Marvel.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense. Especially with that deadline that you don't even really know about until you actually start working.
Oh my god, the deadlines.
The deadlines. Drew, welcome, brother. Nimrod, welcome. Nimrod says hello to everybody. And Drew's saying, will this pandemic change how we consume comics? Digital only? Is print media dead? With high unemployment rates, will people be able to afford the luxury of comics anymore? Just random questions, fans of you both. Well, thank you, Drew. Uh, you want to jump on
Well,
that, or?
I did. Yeah, sure. I did see DC. They did announce, like, I think originally they were like, "Hey, everything's going to be available digital, so you can still get everything." And then like loads of people were like, "That's going to kill the direct market," and they're like, "Oh no, never mind. It's going to be this instead." So I know right now. I think Marvel's talked about it as well. They're trying to come up with a game plan. I think everyone is. I don't. I think the top people they want right now to keep brick and mortar running and also to keep their business running as well. And it's like it's tough. So, but I know that there are game plans. I don't think it'll be the end because comics still have that collector mentality, and some people are just nostalgic for reading floppies and all that stuff. And it will be tough. I saw another artist talking about making like a comics Netflix that's incredibly well like accessed and done, because there are there is the Marvel Unlimited, there is a DC version, and there's Comixology and stuff, but to make it more like streamlined and I don't know, you have to look it up. It's the artist called Victor Bogdanovich. He like posted a whole like basically game plan to do it, and I agree with that. I was like, that would be really cool. Like if I just paid £10 a month and I got access to so many comics, that'd be brilliant.
Yep. I mean, I got the, and I've told you about it too. I've got the Marvel Unlimited app. I haven't been to a comic shop in a very long time. I'm not. I would say Will is better directed at this because I would argue Will's more connected and interested in comics than I am. I like the idea of being able to make stories. It's a great medium to tell that, but I'm not. I enjoy working with them, but my entertainment and stuff like that, I would argue, I like video games and stuff like that a little bit more. But if I can just piggyback, just to answer your question, Drew, from my perspective, I think, and kind of what Will was saying, I think times will change as they always do, especially with comics, and comics has to figure out a way, whether it's the Netflix route or digital or something like that. The way people consume media nowadays, and you can just look at yourselves. I'm assuming you're going to fall under this. Like, when you want something, you want it now, and if you like it, you want lots of it right away. You don't like waiting. And when I actually talked a little bit earlier today, and I was saying that's one of the things I hated about the pull file was like I'd get a taste of Captain America this month, and then I have to wait, and 22 pages are over like that. It doesn't take long.
Yeah, I'm not huge. I'm personally not a huge fan of releasing a single issue monthly, and even when I read, like I still read monthly titles, but one I used to be really excited was there's two. I love reading my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I was really into Greg Capullo Batman. And having to wait monthly for that, I was like, I'd rather just like wait a year and then have like a season, like what I do with regular television.
Yep.
And but I mean, it's all different and stuff, and like I don't know, There's so many suggestions that people can have, but there's a lot of people that just understand the numbers and the business and can answer you exactly why that's not a solid plan.
Sure. Yep. And I would argue too. Well, not argue. That might not be the right way to say it, but this is a great opportunity for indie people, creative people, whatever you want to do. If you're doing your own thing, you can offer the solution that you think might be the problem. Like for me, I don't read those comics in that way anymore. And even when I did JESOP, and I know that's a long time ago, I was more in line with just putting it out there for free to build an audience or whatever was going from there, right? So I think there's lots of avenues. I don't necessarily think Marvel and DC they're in the fortunate position of being like in the limelight, and they have been for a long time, which is great. More people, if that's how you get into reading that stuff or enjoying that medium, I think it's great. But as creatives, we get a lot of opportunity nowadays to address how we can get our art and our stories out there to people that don't necessarily have to be through how they do it, which is cool. I don't think print media is dead. Print, I don't think will ever go away. There's something fun about it, right? Even with crowdfunding, there's something real that you could touch, and people do enjoy that. I don't know if, like, that's one of the cool things I like about crowdfunding. I did a lot of that with board games and stuff, but when you back it and you get a thing, it's different than going to a store and just consuming, like, I'm going to buy 5 comic books today. You know what I mean? Like, when you go on Kickstarter, you're participating in something happening. And that's different because that lets you do something with the product as well. So that's one of the cool things with that. And just your last part there with high unemployment rates, will people be able to afford the luxury of comics anymore? I don't know. Again, like Will was saying, it's hard to say, right? Like, who knows where all this is going to go. But as a creative, if you still do comics and you're posting things online, people still enjoy that. They might not be a full book, but people need art, especially in times like this. They have to pass their time in some way. I reshared something on Facebook. I saw somebody post. I'll butcher it, but it was like, now that everybody's got no time to do anything, all the movies you're binge watching, all the books you're reading, or whatever video games you're playing to pass the time, like, that's all because of artists, right? So we have a value when things get bad.
Yeah, I've seen that going around as well.
So I don't think there's anything wrong. I think it's the opposite. I'd rather look at it the other way. I mean, I think this is a great time to be an artist, because now there's no reason to not do what you're doing. If you're not, like, if you're being paid and you have a job still, then keep going forward. But if you're in the unfortunate, maybe that might not be the right word, but if you don't have that and you're doing nothing anyway, this is go time, man. Put your thing out there.
Yeah, like, look, I'm still worried about my job. Like, I'm working on a title that's not out on the stands currently. It's not going to be, it's not a top tier. I'm not drawing, Spider-Man or any of the big characters. It's something completely different. I'm trying to say it without having to say what it is. But yeah, I am worried that I'll lose my job over it, because you just don't know. They might be like, well, we're cutting out any books that are not our big hitters, or any new stuff we're putting on hold for now. I have zero idea, but I can tell you if I do get laid off from it,
Mm-hmm.
then everyone will have the Dino Zombies demo out in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Because I will be working.
And does that sound like maybe a little scary, but at the same time, does that sound energizing and refreshing a bit?
Of course, it's a major catch-22. You get more time to work on the stuff you really want to, but
Yep.
you also don't have money.
Yes. Yeah. So it's an interesting time.
Because at
Sorry,
the same time of doing that, I'd probably be opening up commissions and trying to do other stuff to try and make money, sell original pages, etc.
There's always ways to make money, that's for sure. I guess, if anything, this just gives us that time that we may not have given ourselves, or we might not have taken it as seriously, perhaps. And I was saying this too. For all the things I loved about my day job, there'd be times when I'm not doing, I would say, creative things like what I'm doing right now. I consider this more in line with what I get fulfilled by, we'll say. But that's just work, right? That's business. That's just, everybody wants to keep everybody employed and do the thing, so you're going to do what you got to do. But because of that, sometimes it would burn you out in a different way, and you'd come home, and now it's time to be able to work on your own thing, but you're just tapped, just the way it goes. So the thing that makes you fulfilled in another way, you're not able to do because you're all burnt out and stuff, right? So
Yeah.
it's great. I mean,
No,
once
I
the
like
money dries up,
this is one of the things that led me to making a video game, because I would be drawing my day, my required books I'd have to do for my day job.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was also trying to produce comics just that of my own stories. But I was so burnt out from just drawing comics all day. The last thing I wanted to do with my time off was draw comics. So
Yep.
that's why, coding and even drawing in pixel style, like it's just such a nice little variety.
Yep.
That it really spices everything up. And I feel like that's a lot of why you did when you started doing all that chibi stuff and different styles and stuff. Like, it's just refreshing to do something different, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, you're hitting it right on the head, man. Because day in, day out kind of stuff. And one of the things, and I'm glad you brought that up, is because I thought of you actually. Maybe a few months ago when I'm always in this constant, how should I draw, right? But just kind of what you were saying there, where I'm like, when I was doing the chibi stuff, exactly like you were saying, I was like, it's funny, you're at home, you're doing your work stuff all the time, but you start to look at things a little different. And I'm like, I remember Will was very driven to do comics and stuff, and I still remember the time you told me when you finally got the call, and you were a little puddle for a little bit there, and you should have been, right? Because it's like a life-changing moment. And it's like, that guy is still getting burnt out from time to time from the thing
Every day.
Yeah, and it's like, it's good. It's a wake-up call, right? So that, and why I'm bringing this up is for those of you that are drawing and you get like art burnout and stuff like that, it never goes away. It just changes form, and it's natural, and it's refreshing because you're not alone, and it's good.
And obviously, the big thing is the self-hate, right? Like, I hate myself. I don't mean like that, but I mean, I hate, my art's just not what I want to be drawing, like, Greg Capullo to a T, like these amazing things. Like, right now I'm drawing this gigantic splash page, right, with about 70 different famous characters and stuff. And I had all these dreams of how good it would look, and I'm inking it now, and it's obviously not as good as I want it to be. but
Sure.
it's not bad. And I know other people will be like, "Wow, that's awesome." And I always remember when I met Art Adams at a comic convention.
Hmm.
I was like, "Oh, I love." And like he had something. I was like, "I really love the way you drew this," and he's like, "Oh, I hate it." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, this is crap." And I'm like, "But you're Art Adams." He's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, but it's crap." I'm like, "It's not crap." And I was like, "That's just that realization that like even Art Adams like thinks that he's shit."
Sure. Yeah. Okay, I just gotta use the washroom real quick. I'll be right back. Do you want me, here? I'll read you some questions real quick, and then I'll leave you to answer them if you don't mind.
Yep.
Okay. Rachel Wood, welcome. Good to see you here. She's saying how? Hi. Wow, amazing art. Thank you. Appreciate that. Um, Also, I should say too, I would like to get if we can get Google Hangouts or something streaming so that, and I don't know if Will you're able to do that because you're still working on the iPad, I believe. So I don't know if you can stream, but if we can, I'd like to get Will showing his. Oh, you can't even show it. What the hell am I talking about? Okay.
Yeah, I can't shit.
Okay. Well, anyway, if we can show some stuff, maybe I can get like a slideshow of Will's art or something, and I can flip back and forth. That way, you guys can still check out his stuff too. So she was asking how y'all handling the quarantine so far. There's a few questions here, so I'll just jam a whole bunch. So she's asking how y'all handling the quarantine so far. Myself, I'm doing all right. Nimrod's asking John or Will online collaboration in this age of isolation. What is the right way to do it? Um, Yeah, so those are the two questions I'll leave you with. So how
Okay.
are you handling the quarantine, and in this age of isolation right now, how are you handling it, especially with collaboration?
Cool. Go have your way. Okay, in terms of quarantine, I mean, what being a comic book artist full time is pretty much the same as living in quarantine. You don't have a social life, you don't see anybody, um, but it's still scary at the same time, obviously, and there's wars and everything like that. But I'm just working away and keeping focused and focusing on things I love and trying to stay up to date with stuff, but not stay up to date from sources that I trust, not just people online talking about things, and also just filling my television with really funny stuff and stuff I want to see and just stuff to keep me busy because it's just scary. We don't know what the heck's going on, and it's just good to have a little bit of escapism. And I've been talking to a lot of friends that I don't usually chat to and stuff like that. But yeah, it hasn't affected my work too much. It's made me slower, but in terms of actually working, I work from home anyway, so my whole setup is built for home. All of Marvel Editorial, they're working from home as well. I think they've been for several weeks, so that's interesting. So yeah, that's how I've been coping with it. It's pretty much just the same. I take the dog out for a walk every day. You're still allowed to do that, so that's nice. And then what was the other question? Let me look it up here. Is there any preview of the game online? No, there's no preview. Well, I mean, I have social media for it, so I have Dino Zombies game. So it's at Dino Zombies game on Twitter and Instagram. There's a little video of me like testing some of the stuff from it, even though obviously not too much is finished. But yeah, any updates you want on the game, just search Dino Zombies game, and you'll find it. Where's the right way to do it? Yeah, I think that now would be the time to collaborate. If you know other people that are out of work and have extra time, then this is the time to team up on stuff. Yeah, like me and John was saying, like I personally think people should take advantage of this time to truly pursue the things they want to do. But at the same time, I can understand like don't add more pressure to your life already than what's going on around you. But it is an interesting time to really try and pursue your dreams because you've got nothing but time to do that. Like one of the lucky reasons why I broke into Marvel was I was a 23-year-old kid, and I spent a good how long did it take me? 3 years drawing all day every day, and I was living at my parents' house, and then I was living on my brother's sofa. And, I had the luxury of relying on other people so I could really pursue my talent and get good enough to get a job. And that's because I had the luxury of doing that. But I can totally understand from other people's perspectives where they want to work for Marvel or DC or something like that, and they want to get their art skills up, but there's just not enough, time in the day. I totally get that. I used to say, like, there's always time in the day, there's no excuse, but that was coming from such a point of privilege of someone who had a lot of time in their hands. But now, since, the world is completely different and we don't know how long it's going to be different for, there is a lot of time, so I think it'd be great. And it'd probably be a good distraction, too, just to really knuckle down and learn how to draw. And the best way to do that is use the book Figure Drawing, Design, and Invention by Michael Hampton. I'll say that again. Figure Drawing, Design, and Invention by Michael Hampton. It's the book that John Rector used to get really good at anatomy, and it's the book that he showed me that got me really good at drawing anatomy and just drawing in general. And How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way is a classic. Drawing the Head and Hands, I can't remember who did that. And just any tutorial book, really. And obviously just looking at your favorite artists and just drawing it over and over again and taking your time and just not stopping. And that's the great thing with the time now. I know I sound like a repeating clock now, but since there is a lot more time in people's hands, you just, like, the way you learn how to draw and get good at it is you just don't stop. You just go draw all freaking day. And eventually you'll draw an eyeball so much that you'll suddenly draw it really well, and you go, oh, what did I do that this time that was different? Because it's all trial and error, really. And that's I guess the advice I would give for collaboration, even though that wasn't really the answer. You work at a grocery store? Well, my deepest props, and I bow to you. I think you're a freaking hero, because I know how tough it is out there. I've got friends working in pharmacies and supermarkets right now, and people are treating them like dirt, and they're really so essential to our daily lives. So thank you so much for doing that, Rachel. I'm hard on myself. Yeah, I am hard on myself. Thanks, Jack. But that's okay. I like to be hard on myself. Discord, yeah, Discord would probably be better.
Okay, I'm back.
Good, because I went on like a big ramble, and all I could hear was you playing with your kid in the background.
Oh, you can hear all that?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's hilarious.
Maybe they can't, but I definitely could.
Oh, okay, yeah, I forgot, yeah, because you're in Skype. That's hilarious. Okay. See what we got. So you got all caught up? Tried Discord?
Yeah, I was just answering questions, and I just went on a rant.
Did you answer the art school one?
The what?
So, Rachel was asking, have you been to art school? Do you recommend it?
I went to film school, and I learned a lot about storytelling then. And that's originally what I wanted to do in my life. I wanted to be a director, but I've gone on a long journey to just realize all I want to do is tell stories. And so whatever medium I can do that with, I'm happy with. But I don't disagree with art school. But if you want to draw comics, go to the freaking Cubit School in New Jersey. That's the university you go to learn how to draw comics. And they have dope people come in, like John Romita Jr. and Frank Miller, just like chat about the industry and stuff like that. Like, God, I wish I could go back in time and just go to that school. So I used to live in New Jersey as well. So I really missed out on that.
That would have been something.
Yeah.
Imagine that. I went to animation school. Well, it's not animation school. It was a class that they had. 2D animation and 3D animation, just because it was art and I wanted to do art for a living. Then I hated it. It was a lot of work for... I'm in the same boat, I would say, as well, as I prefer to tell stories, whether it's through games or comics or whatever. And animation still tapped that, but the problem is it's somebody else's story, and I think that's why I still gravitate towards doing my own thing as much as I can. And even though I haven't done that many of them, it's still something that I like. But I don't know, I guess maybe I'm a little salted on art school, Not that anybody let me down or anything like that, but I feel like especially now with art, outside of if you need structure and maybe some what's it called?
My look, there's two things for me. University is so expensive, and you'll be paying off for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even hard. It's so hard to fathom how much money it is when you enter it, and then 10 years later when you're still paying for it monthly. It's crazy.
Yep.
But on the flip side, I wouldn't trade my university experience for anything because I met great people. I had fantastic life experiences,
Right.
and they're worth. The money is worth that for me because I loved university and just the life experiences I had. I wouldn't necessarily say it was fantastic for my career because I pursued that for myself.
Right.
But just for my life in general, I don't hate that I did it. So just know that it costs a lot of money, and a lot of money, and it might not be worth it for what you want to do in life. But it's great. It's a fantastic social device and just life experience, really. So I can't fault it for that.
And I share the same thing as Will saying. So if you know you want to be an artist, if you're fortunate enough to know already that that's what you want to do, I would say no, don't go unless you want to broaden your social circle. And the structure part I was saying was there's a lot of discipline that's kind of in there too, because if you don't do things, you're going to fail, and especially when you know you're spending a lot of cash, it's kind of stupid to just blow that money and just fail, unless you fail early and get out. But I don't think
Even if you
it's
fail early and get
necessary.
out, it's going to cost a lot of money.
Yes, yeah. And I don't think like you definitely don't need it in order to have an art career. You don't need school for a lot of things to have a career.
No.
So,
My brother makes more money than me, and he dropped out of university. So there you go.
yep, it's like everything. It's you. What are you gonna do? What are you willing to do? Um, Nimrod saying he has that Michael Hampton figure drawing book. It's a great book.
Best book ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Bible that John introduced me to.
All right, man, this is taking too long. I need this stuff to be faster, faster, faster.
And another touch in that book is like the way I actually resonated all the information I was taking in. And I'm doing this with game making now as well. It just works for me. I'm not going to say it works for everybody, but it is reading one chapter at a time and just not moving forward until you really understand what's been happening in that chapter. Because a lot of people are like, I read that book and I still don't get it. I'm like, of course you don't, because you just read the whole book. Like, you got to really ingest this information. Where
Yep.
if I say to you, like, how do you draw the shoulder blades? You've read that chapter so many times that you just know where they are. Like, it's here, it's this. And I feel like a lot of people are just very impatient when it comes to learning, especially something as hard as drawing. And also, drawing is so weird because, like, now I've been doing it for so long, like, forearm muscles, etc., all that stuff. It just makes, it's second nature.
Yep.
And I looked back at stuff. I'm like, you're such an idiot for not knowing how this worked immediately. But it's so hard to comprehend the difficulty of stuff when you don't understand it.
Yep. To your point too, I think like especially when the books are as thick as anatomy books are, you want to be people would like to learn fast, so you just like you're saying flip through it real quick, and you're not actually retaining a lot of what you're saying. You might go like I can't draw heads very well, so you go to the heads and you're just drawing the heads, but then that's where you just leave the book or you flip through and that kind of thing. But yeah, to Will's point, if you really want to get it good at with a lot of this drawing stuff, like you have to study these books, not just read them, put it down, and
Yeah, and
it's
the
in my collection.
best advice I can give is just like if you really want to draw comics for a living, but you're not committed to learning how to draw like for hours at a time, then you got to realize that this business, all you're doing is drawing for hours at a time. That's it.
Yep.
Your life will be drawing for 8 hours straight a day, and if you can't commit to that, on a learning level, then it's not for you.
Yep. And fail at that fast, guys. Don't spend
And
lots of years
it's
realizing
crazy.
that.
Like, I'm not going to name any names, but I've had people I've worked with that strive to get into the industry, and they did it, and then they started working. Like, they got to their Mount Rushmore, and they got a taste of it, and they're like, "Whoa, I can't do this. Like, this is so tough. Like, I'm working so hard. Like, I can't do this." And it's like I completely understand. Like,
Yep.
I completely understand. It is tough, but I'm not trying to push anybody off. Obviously, like, please, if
No,
your
it's
dream,
real.
go for it.
It's real, man. Like,
I'm all for chasing your dreams. You can go back to really, really old streams of whatever we called the show, Arts and Farts. I can't remember.
scribble,
Scribble Chat.
sketchbook.
You just go back deep on John Rector's channel,
Fuck, yeah.
and you'll find stuff from like 6 or 7 years ago where it's him and I chatting, and I'm just like, I really want to break into Marvel, and then John's like, well, that's very difficult, and the chances of that are low. I'm like, I don't care, I want to do it, and luckily I was able to do it.
Yep.
And that's always been my mentality in life, is I will always just go for stuff, because I'm not afraid to fail at all, and if I fail, I'm happy to continue to keep trying. And that's just me, and I totally understand people are not built that way. A lot of people are afraid of failure. A lot of people just don't want to commit, and this is sounding really like I'm putting people down. I'm not trying to. I don't know what I'm trying to say here at all.
No, honestly, if I could filter you for a second, I wouldn't have any reservations. You just talk real, because I know there's a lot of cats out there that like things softball to them, but you're a guy that's working. You achieved the dream you wanted. You're working more so now than you ever have, and that's the end goal currently for some people, just to even get where you're at. So when you're speaking frankly, right, like, that's their new world that they're going into. So of course there's all the pluses that come from it, but like what Will's talking about is like there's negatives too. It's not just roses
Well,
everywhere.
I'm a very frank person, and I honestly think the comic industry made me that way, because I've been to so many portfolio reviews, and a portfolio review, it works for me. I respond well to hard, real criticism, and that's why I loved portfolio reviews, because they're like, you can draw this, but this is shit, and you really need to focus on making this better. And this is what's bad with your work. This is what's bad, or hey, you're not good enough. You're not ready, and here's all the reasons why. Certain people would take that and say, you don't know what you're talking about. Screw you. So other people will go, oh my god, I'm nowhere near good enough, and fall. And then other people will go, thank you for the advice, and actually work on it. And that's just the way I've always been. And I think that's what's made me frank, is that I've had so many people tell me what's wrong with me and what I do, that the advice they gave on how to fix those wrongs actually worked. And that's why I'm very frank. Like, if a lot of people send me like their portfolios and stuff and ask me to critique it and stuff, and I will always be brutally blunt and honest, because I've had those people that think that they are the bee's knees. I've had people that have thought that they're better artists than Todd McFarlane, and they're going to be, the next John Byrne and stuff like that. And
Such a bad attitude.
And when you look at their artwork, it's like, no, like maybe one day, but not right now. And they'll say that stuff not just to me, but to editors and stuff like that. It's like, you're just burning big bridges.
Oh yeah. Good for them, man. It's a nice way to be.
That's a mentality I've never understood. I am so self-conscious of my art. I do not understand the person that's like, I am the best at this.
Yeah, I remember your stories about a certain someone.
Yeah.
And those are the good stuff. Yeah, I don't know. A humble pie is like the best pie, man. A lot of people could benefit big time for just being normal human beings.
But this is the tough thing about like art books. Like, some will work for some people, some work for others. We're all different. Our brains all work completely different. We've had different life experiences that's led us to have completely different opinions on how the world works and how we work. But it's just so hard to give solid advice to anybody. Like I said, that hardball, you suck and this is why stuff really worked for me, and that just won't work for other people. just in the same fact, I've had people say like I've read your Michael Hampton book head to toe, and I just don't get it, and I have followed every single chapter, but then they'll read like a George Hampton book and be like, oh, this makes complete sense to me, whereas George Hampton to me is a puzzle, and I don't understand it at all. And yeah, so it's just like, I don't know, just freaking draw.
That's a good point. Okay, just catch up with some cats here. Just to let you guys know, I'm gonna be wrapping this one up, and you as well, Will. I'm just wrapping this up in about 40 minutes or so.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and that'll be my stream for today. Streams, I'm pretty sure I'll probably keep going early in the morning like this one. They seem to work better than the afternoon. So, yeah, Will, if you're around tomorrow or throughout the week, love to have you back.
I'll just let you know if I can. I'll probably pop in on some chats, but
Okay.
I won't be able to chat all the time. It's just because my wife isn't around right now, so I'm just sitting in my living room, so it's easier.
Okay. Yeah, no, that works. Okay. Just to catch up, and thank you guys, everybody that's participating in the chat. Do appreciate it. All right, so we got a whole bunch going on here. Rachel Wood is still commenting there. I've been considering a lot of different art-related careers, especially in the entertainment industry. Glad to know I might not need a degree. Yeah. You do not need a degree at all if you want to go into any of these
just a
fields.
portfolio.
Yeah, that's all you need. You can be a high school dropout.
I will recommend one great business for any artists right now, because your skills don't even need to be that tight. It's probably not worth it right now with the way the world is, but when it clears up, a great money maker for me used to be doing storyboards for advertisement companies, because they pay out the teeth for minimal work that takes about a day, and you could be earning more than what I'm earning right now working for Marvel Comics, just because it's a weird industry and they need the work, and it's like I said, it's minimal. You don't need to do much detail or anything. They just need to portray the story that's in the script, and you get good money. And it was something that I nearly considered doing full time, but I knew I wouldn't be happy doing it. But that's something I definitely recommend pursuing to continue working full time as an artist, but and still paying the bills, etc.
Words of wisdom right there, guys. Nimrod is asking, Will, as John knows, I am a gearhead with no skills as such. I own a Cintiq 13 and a 22 HD, a shitload of art books. With lockdown here in Australia, I have more time to spare. Is less more with gear?
Gear, not in the sense of someone that likes cars, in the sense of
like
a techie.
Cintiqs and art books. I think just for some context, I don't think you added there. I've known Nimrod for a long time, and I think what he struggles the most with is, it's hard to say. I think he has the passion and the desire to do it. I know there's some health issues, but I think maybe the expectations are too high and a slight lack of discipline to work every day and build off of what you did yesterday, even if today is only 5 minutes. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Nimrod does this, and a lot of people do this, and I'll never fault people for this, right? But it's, instead of working and doing the actual thing, if comics is what you want to make, you need to be making comics, not necessarily reading anatomy books all the time. But people fill in that void by participating in that lifestyle. So they'll buy the Cintiq, they'll buy the art books, they'll read them. They might sketch it, but they don't apply it. It's sort of like, if you've ever been to somebody's house and they have like a giant library of books, but they don't really read. That kind of thing. So I don't know if Will could necessarily answer it any different than I am, because I know there's some context back here, but I would say from my perspective, it's more that. It's more the problem needs to be addressed of, is this something you would like to do? Not to beat yourself up over it. Stop filling your life up with things of that life, and start actually doing more. And then if you need those things down the road, they'll always be there. You're not missing out by not having anything.
Right.
It's not preventing you from going forward with that.
I have a Cintiq. I'm not a Cintiq. Well, I have a Cintiq, but I never use it. I use an iPad Pro fully because it just lets me sit on my sofa instead of in an office, and I get to sit next to my wife and watch TV and play. And like, my dog's in my lap currently, and it just suits my lifestyle more. But I need it? No. I learned how to draw by just filling up a sketch pad every single month. Like the advice I'll give is the exact advice that I searched for when I just started. Like I started out, which a lot like many other people, I think, where you have a good knack for looking at a piece of art and copying it, and looking relatively close to it, if not exactly like it. So you go, hey, I think I've got a knack for this. You're in school, and all you do is doodle in your pages and come up with little silly stories or draw superheroes and stuff like that. And you just have fun doing it. But you know you don't have the skills just to do it from your head. And what happened to me was I walked into a comic book store in 2011, and on the stands was a Batman book, and it was done by Greg Capullo. And I was a huge Spawn fan, and I was like, whoa, like, this is amazing. And it completely refueled my passion to be like, you know what, I actually really want to do this for a living. So what I did was I did tons of research, and I just looked at like how did people start their careers and how did they start doing it? I was like, is it just something like you have a knack for, you just draw every now and then? Or like, what is the steps to actually getting really good at drawing and breaking in? And I heard a podcast with Jim Lee, and he said, like, he was so militant about learning how to draw. He said to his parents, like, look, I will focus night and day on how to draw, and I will pursue it for this amount of time. And if I don't do it, forget it. But if I can, why not go for it? And his parents agreed. He went to the extremes where he'd have bloody knuckles by the end of the day, and like his hands would be like toast. And he'd go on runs, and when he was running, his beat was Miller, burn, Miller, burn, Miller, burn, and like just completely obsessed, right?
Yep.
And then I heard Greg Pulo, who was exactly the same thing, but just not as extreme. He just said, "Mom, let me live at home with you for 2 years. I'm really going to try and get good at drawing, and I'm going to draw all day, every day, and yeah, I'm going to pursue it. If it doesn't work out, so be it. If it does, great." Then I also heard so many other comic artists being like, the theme I kept hearing was a lot of these people were saying it took me about 2 years, and all I did was draw every day, all day, and all night, and that's all I did, and that's how I got good at drawing in a small amount of time. And being the person I was like, okay, well, that's what I got to do, and that's exactly what I did. I just sat down, drew all day, every day, and I slowly got better and better and better until 3 years later, I was able to put a portfolio in front of Marvel and get luckily hired for a job, and it's been like that ever since. It's just that these people that work in this industry have such discipline because that's what it takes. It's just It's cutthroat. Like it's the same as losing weight, which I've done in my life as well. At one point in my life, I lost about 90 pounds, and that was all just I'm not going to eat anything bad for me. I'm going to exercise every day and do this and this. Recently in the past 3 years, I put that all back on and then some. But I understood that taught me how to be like militant in getting results from being, determination and stuff like that. And I totally understand if you want to draw at a professional level, but you cannot commit to that amount of time. And I totally get that. It was frustrating. It destroyed my social life. It destroyed a lot of things, but in the end, it created a lot of things as well. Yep. But that's what I think. If you try and do that, like sit down, properly draw all day, every day, and you can't do it, then that's a great realization. Like, you know what? I have more respect for the people that actually do this because this is what it takes to get that good. And I can't do it. And also, again, if you're doing drawing all day, every day, that is what your job will be. It's not like you suddenly get the job and it's like, yeah, just draw like, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, like everyone else. If you have a sick day, we'll pay you. No, it's none of that. If you ain't drawing, you ain't getting paid. And yeah, I know I'm hardballing it and I'm making it sound like it's like, freaking joining the military or something. Mm-mm. But yeah, it's if you want to have a dream job like drawing comics, go work for it. Go work real, real hard. And you got to work to keep it as well. Because I'm in the business, but that doesn't mean I have a golden ticket to stay in it. If I start getting a reputation and missing deadlines, then they're not going to hire me anymore. Yeah. I'm not full-time. I'm freelance. I've been working as a freelance artist for a major company. My paychecks say Disney on them, but and it's been 5 years, but tomorrow it could be all gone if I just go, do you know what? I really don't feel like drawing.
Yep. No, that was beautiful, man. I think a lot of people needed to hear that. That's Nimrod's also saying he's 44, and he's talking a little bit about that, and he's saying, "Thank you guys. You may be miles away, but you're in my heart." So no, like everything Will said there, I can't think of a better way to say it. It sums it up perfectly, and he's really highlighting honestly the work ethic it takes to just be an entertainment based artist, freelance entertainment based artist. You could do your own stuff too, and that's a little bit different. I wanted to just add too, maybe you just want to be a hobby artist, and if that's the case, then you need to really be a little bit more lighter on yourself. Do not compare
Oh, yeah.
yourself to Will. Don't do it. You'll never get there. You'll hate yourself, and life's too short.
And look, I would recommend nothing more than to just be a hobby artist. My God, that sounds fun.
It does. Sounds pretty cool. Raphael.
You mean I get to draw just because drawing's fun?
What's that?
And I don't have to draw stuff I don't want to draw, just things I want to draw? That's not real. That's not a thing. People don't do that.
No, you can't do that. Raphael is saying, great to watch you guys chatting. Would love to participate sometime. Oh, absolutely, dude. I'll get you in here. And I apologize. I haven't reached out sooner. Actually, here, let me just write this down, because I know I'll forget this with my shitty memory, because I'm old now.
Oh, man.
Raphael. I'll reach out to you on Facebook, brother, and get people talking about all your sexy art, too. Maybe we're going to start turning this into like a trifecta, guys. If I end up going back to work, and then it's like, okay, see you guys. I'll disappear again under my rock.
Tell my joke back. Bye.
Okay. Rachel is saying, this is something I really needed to hear. Oh, great. I'm 20 years old with plenty of time on my hands. Oh, you have no idea. And really no excuse to not be working on this all the time. Well, there's plenty of excuses. I know what you're saying, but there are a lot of excuses. Don't you worry about that. But yes, you're right. You have so much time. I don't even think you're fully aware of it yet.
If you respond well to a kick up the arse type, like go get him type stuff, go on YouTube and watch any Tom McFarlane stuff. He's the master at being like, he has this great speech. It starts in a documentary where he's like, you don't like your hair? Go get a fucking haircut. You're fat? Go lose fucking weight. You hate your job? Quit. He's like, I'm sick of people just complaining. Like, go and do it. Now,
Yeah.
And for some reason, that to me, I'm like, yes, Mr. McFarlane. Like, I will do that. It just works for me.
I think there's something to be said. Like, I'll say in this day and age, it already makes me sound like an old ass, but there's not a lot of people that talk like that anymore. A lot of people, and myself included, censor yourself because you don't want people to take what you're saying the wrong way. And you're, like you're saying, right? You're trying not to make something sound worse than it is, but it's real. And there's definitely a voice that needs to be heard out there. And I think a lot of people actually want to hear stuff like that. Because you're not getting that. You're not getting that from anywhere. You'll get your friends and family saying they support everything you do, or they'll put a little fear into you, going like, I don't know, like it's scary, right?
Well, just go see any comic book editor, and then you'll understand how the real world works.
And it's good for you too. I've actually had 2 people surprisingly talking to me on Twitter asking. I don't want to say support or anything like that, but I don't know if they're taking criticism the wrong way or if they're. I don't know. It just sounds like maybe they're a little sensitive, and I don't mean that in like a negative way. Just going back on what I'm saying, I don't think people, whether it's like maybe I'll say an old school proper male role model in your life, where it's kind of like, I don't want to say aggression, but like a little bit of hard assness to it, right? Where it's I think it's very good to have somebody in your life, especially if you're an artist, that is got your back, but they're also not letting you get away with shit. Like they're calling you out when you're, being a little whatever. And
That's the way I operate, and it's gotten me into a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very blunt and honest with people and my own family as well, and I understand that not everybody responds well to that.
Yep.
And I can also see that a lot of people take that type of stuff as being incredibly rude or offensive.
Sure.
When you're just like, hey, this is shit, and they're like, and I understand why people would completely be like, fuck you. I totally get that, but I respond well to it, and I think my life's better for having that mentality, and I just because it's just a lot of truth, and I really respond well to like pure truth.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's no bullshit, right? And in the context, I
Yeah,
do want to highlight because what Will's saying, yeah, I can obviously respect people that are, you know, I'll continue to say sensitive, and I don't mean it in a negative way. But if you want a job where you get to draw all day, and most likely you're going to be drawing for other people or someone, they get to usually critique your work or go, can you change this or that? And that might not be the same level of criticism as like, the way you draw sucks. You need to tighten this up, take this seriously. Where you might take that as like, ooh, did you just call me out? You don't know what I want, right? But the reality
yeah,
is like, if you're going into a field that you want to work for people and draw for them, it's nobody's attacking you personally. It's the work, and there's
Oh, you'll be
usually a
personally attacked as well. From
well, okay,
like,
yeah,
there's
that's fair.
there's videos on YouTube where people like people make videos and they're like, this comic sucks. Like I did an issue of Spider-Man Deadpool, and this guy was going down like every single page and telling like the audience what he hated about it, and some of it was very constructive, bare minimum, but other stuff I was like, all right, well you just you don't know what you're talking about.
All
Like
right,
something
that's
like
fair.
in the terms of like this, he's like he clearly just copied and pasted and flipped this, and I was like, no, I actually worked really hard on that to make it look exactly the same. And anyway, I'm going off a tangent here.
No, that's cool. Don't worry about tangents, man. That's all I'm known for, dude, is tangents. You know that. What do we got? Okay, so people are agreeing with us. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Rachel's going to look up Todd McFarlane. Good. You'll get a lot of value from him. He does a lot of things on YouTube too, like showing some drawing stuff. You might like
He
that.
does. He's a really good guy, and try and watch. I don't know. I think there's a couple out there, but there's a couple of documentaries. There's one on YouTube just about him and how he came to be successful.
That's
And
a
the
great one.
documentary, it's from the early 2000s or something. It's quite old, but it's full of inspirational stuff. And also there's a couple of fantastic documentaries on how Image Comics was made. And yeah, if you really respond to people not taking crap or no, not taking crap, like taking crap, hearing hard stuff, hard truths, and working on it. Like this is one thing that really inspired me was like Todd McFarlane. He was at university, and the only reason he was there because he wanted to play baseball, right? But he needed to have a job to pay the bills, so he was also a janitor. But his backup plan was to be a comic book artist if baseball didn't work out. So he was every day. He had a list. It was like I would wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I train for baseball. I go to baseball practice, then I go to school, and then I would work my janitorial job till nighttime, and then at night I would draw until 2 o'clock in the morning, and then the day would start again. Which sounds incredibly unhealthy and stuff, but it's like I love that type of stuff. That level of determination to like be somebody is it's fantastic.
Yep. Okay. Prima, welcome. Is saying aggressive wholesomeness. That's a very good way of saying it. Rachel Wood, I'm a wimp, so I tend to post my art anonymously. It helps me. It helps me handle the criticism. I'm getting better about not taking it personally. I think there's a maturity that'll end up coming in soon with you if you're already asking these kinds of questions, and a lot of people get there where you're able to separate yourself from the work you produce, especially when it's for other people.
I will add to that it's totally understandable to be upset by that because you're posting to the web and you'll get responses from people that will critique you that really you shouldn't be listening to what they're critiquing about you because what you really want is people critiquing you
Mm-hmm.
that are better artists than you or people work in the industry, people that actually have a strong opinion to back up. Because a lot of people's opinion on the internet is like, I don't like this, this is why, but they have no real solid backing up to to be like what can improve or anything like that. They're just that's the thing about art is it's so freaking subjective. You just look at it, I like it, I don't, etc.
Yeah.
But you need to get that. You need to get advice from people that can properly tell you. I used to come to John with this stuff. I used to be like, John, what's wrong with this? And he would tell me, and I'd work on it. And like that's what you need to do. So I totally understand if you're posting up anonymously, and I totally understand if people are like, hey, this sucks, and that upsets you because they don't have a leg to stand on for their opinion, really.
Yep. That's a good point, man. I'm trying to jam through these ones as fast as I can go. Raphael is saying it's important to not romanticize the work and the career, and the best way to do that is to look for information, but people might not like the reality. Yep, I agree.
I definitely romanticized it, that's for sure.
Oh, we all did, 100%. And I should outline, too, Raphael is a professional artist as well. Guys, please go check out his stuff. He's
cool.
a tremendous artist, too. And when I say professional, too, I'm not trying to elevate these boys, even though they deserve it. It's just more so their gigs are doing comic books full time. And not just comics. I mean, if you had to, Will, you would do other things. I know you did stuff before comics as well, like you talked about earlier, right? So it's people that are getting paid to do their thing full time. I don't know what Jack's asking. Are you talking about your boy Zach doing the review on your comic?
I don't know who did it.
Okay. It could have been anybody. I know your boy Zach. He does like a bunch of stuff. I don't really watch his stuff, but I know the name. I've seen it in Twitter. That's where I'm starting to find out about all these people. Nimrod John, I have always taken your advice to heart. I have quotes you said on my wall. Oh, Jesus. Okay, come on. You got to stop. You need better quotes. I appreciate it.
It's
though,
one
man.
of the quotes. I'm trying out this new book and style.
Yeah, no, that should be really the that should be the quote of the whole stream of my whole career at this point. Guys, check out this new idea.
I was drawing this, but now I'm drawing this.
Man, you want to talk about a bad habit to break? Fuck. We should talk about that sometime.
We'll do it.
We'll do like a live harsh criticism of John. Do you got it in you?
I'm there.
You are? Okay, perfect. I need it. And then I'll come with my, I'll try to...
But I've done that already with you in private chats, and it's all opinionated on style and stuff like that.
No, but at the same time, I think it'd be good for people to hear. If we can get a bunch of people to just roast me or something like that, I think it'd be fun.
I hate you, and I love you.
I know. Yeah, I love you, but full scaps come out. Point 1. You are the... Okay. Raphael, this Todd guy is a great and up-and-coming artist, I hear. I think one day he might become something of himself. That's great. Nimrod, I'm a motivational junkie. I love Schwarzenegger's motivate. Yeah, no, and...
he's fantastic.
Yeah, and...
Schwarzenegger is the epitome of get out there and fucking do it.
Yes, 100%. And this might be more directed towards Nimrod, but other people too, because I am in this camp, is I believe that you have to stop listening to that stuff at some point when it starts outweighing, like, if you're just listening to it and you feel good from it, but you don't act on anything, I think there's a point when you need to stop. You need to just put it away and really start working on stuff, if that's what you want to do. Like, if you're a hobby artist or something, then whatever makes you happy, do that. But I've like what Will's just kind of joking about with there's some truth there's a lot of truth in it of, hey guys, here's my new project and style I'm working on, right? Like, it's the same kind of thing. It's a constant distraction, and when there's no fruit being created from that work or that research or that labor or anything, then it's like, what is it? It's fluff. And we need to make more stuff, especially if that's something you want to do. Rachel, how do you approach background art? I find it intimidating, especially from room interiors and cityscapes. One of the pros of posting anonymously is that people do respond more honestly. Everyone plays nice on Instagram. That's a good point. But people will give more down-to-earth review in places like Reddit.
Yeah, that's true. In terms of backgrounds, I actually learned how to draw backgrounds in Clip Studio or Manga Studio at the time because they had the perspective ruler. So I used it originally as like I don't need to draw backgrounds. I got a perspective ruler. This is great, but it actually taught me how to. It taught my brain to understand perspective, and I still use the perspective ruler to this day. But I
Mm-hmm.
do freehand a lot of stuff. I can totally understand why it's scary, and I find it scary too. And I still rely to this day, working professionally, on 3D models. They go a long way, and references is your best friend. You can pick up so much little stuff like from reference. Like for instance, I'm drawing the scene now that's in a giant hall, and there's security and stuff like that. And everyone could just think of stuff like from their brain, like what does that look like? But just looking at reference pictures, I'm like, oh yeah, they do have those little wand things, and oh yeah, there is like the little bucket to put your stuff, and like all that type of stuff. That as much as you can think from your own head, it's great to look at reference and build folders as well. Like I have tons of folders on buildings I really like the windows of. When I visit like cities and stuff, I love like just looking around and being like, that's a really cool window. I should try and draw that. I can understand perspective can be really scary, and that's why I do recommend get Clip Studio and use that perspective ruler, because it will be the tightest perspective possible, but along the way it will teach you what's what.
Yep, that's a good point. I would just piggyback on that and say, yeah, one of the things, for better or worse, was Google SketchUp.
Yeah.
Just being able to import a model changed. I don't know if the stigma is still there. I still think people should learn how to do perspective, just like because it's in terms of like form, like how to build form, because it's going to help you with anatomy and everything else. But if you're working and a lot of the advice Will and I are giving here is geared towards entertainment or professional art. When you get paid per thing, so you got to make things quick. So the amateur artist may look at models and 3D things as like a that's not what real artists use and do, when it's actually quite the opposite. I
Oh yeah.
know I know of one artist, I won't say his name, very very popular. We talk about him a lot. May as well just say his name at this point. But he hires people to do 3D models for things, for books that he's working on, so that he doesn't have to worry about making it look right in every panel. He can just use the
Yeah.
software we have, put it in, rotate it where you need it, keep
I,
moving on.
I'll give you. I'll give you for instance with that. It's not that I don't have the ability to draw this stuff. It's that I'd rather hit my deadline. Like
Yep.
that's the main goal. Getting 20 pages of comics done in anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks is very tough, and I pencil and ink because I'm an idiot. Um, and it's just tough. Like for instance, I got really upset the other day because there was a specific building in New York City that was in the script, and it's a major part of the script. And usually I'm like, oh, I'll just like get a 3D model of that. And this was with a mail cart as well, like a classic mail cart in like a big corporation,
Mm-hmm.
where they push around. I couldn't find a 3D model of a mail cart, and this building, there was no 3D model of it. So now I'm just drawing them regularly, and I hate myself because I'm like, oh, here comes the page with the exterior shot of that building. Like, oh, I'm actually going to have to freaking work.
You rely on the 3D now, eh? Yeah. I'm in the
Yeah,
same boat. Yeah. Do you pay for SketchUp now?
I have no idea. I have it on my iPad, and then I just take a screenshot of the 3D model, and then I put it on a monochrome layer, and boom, it's in the comic, and then I ink over it. Also, that's the big thing is like I take these 3D models, but I do ink over them a lot, like to
Yeah.
turn them into something else. Like it's not just like it's not just like the black and white image of a 3D model being like done. It's not that. There's a lot more to it. Like I drew a Star Wars cover, and I had the Millennium Falcon in the background, and I used a 3D model as the basis for just like the perspective I wanted. But it took me 16 hours to ink the freaking Millennium Falcon. Like, it's
Yeah.
not that to me. There's like if I just drop that in and hand in the book, like the whole point of that cover was the focus was on the Millennium Falcon. I feel like a hack.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So like I like to just for myself, I do like to ink it and make it a bit more original, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Nope. Beer points. Okay, keep going. Boom, ba-dum, boom, 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 boom. Cool. All right, so we got about 10 minutes left, guys, for the stream. And thank you so much, everybody that was here. All the questions, you guys have been great. For those that are active in the chat, do appreciate it. So if you guys wanted to jam in any more questions for Will or myself for the stream today, go ahead, jam them in there, and we'll keep going. Before I get that going, Will, do you have any, like, I don't know, things you want to plug or any kind of promo stuff?
Dino Zombies Game, at Dino Zombies Game on Instagram and Twitter, at Robson Inc. INK on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube's. I have a bunch of videos that I filmed of me inking and penciling Spider-Ham on my iPad that I have just not uploaded yet, so I really need to get around to doing that. I was going to do a running commentary. I have a bunch of covers and I think a few splash pages as well. So if you go to my YouTube, that might come one day. If I get laid off, you'll see all of them.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, I'm really trying to plug my game right now because it's awesome and I like to share it. And because my social media right now, I only just started it, so I only have like 10 followers and stuff like that. So I want to build that up.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get a bunch of retweets and stuff. Maybe it might be cool too. Obviously, depending on quarantines and timelines and stuff. But maybe we could do whenever you're ready, just like a demo on stream or something.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty slick. I think it'd be cool because I know I have a lot of new people that have been trickling in. Like I haven't been streaming as much as I used to, but there are definitely people in here that have been fans of the stream and stuff like that remember all the chats we used to have and stuff. So I think it'd just be cool that they get to see something else that you're doing that's not just comic book art and how cool it is.
When I have the demo done, I would love for you to get on like a stream, play it, and everyone can see that you're playing it, and just let me watch you play it.
Yeah, sure, that'd be a lot of fun.
And then I can get feedback from people in the chat, and feedback from you directly. That would be amazing for me.
I wonder if like going on Twitch or something like that might be appropriate, or do you think?
That would be good too.
All right, well, we got a lot of fires to cook here. Rachel, she's got a lot. Hey, don't worry about last questions. By all means, we're open books. Who are your art role models? Who inspired you? Also, if you are interested in seeing some of my... she did it. She posted... Rachel, can't believe you would ask a question and then ask us to go look at... I'm just joking. Anyway, go check out her stuff.
How dare you?
How dare you self-promote? So scummy. Go check her out at... Let me just make sure I'm right. Popcorn and Pencils. I like that. Is that on Instagram? Instagram, yeah. Popcorn and Pencils. All right, we'll throw it to you, Will. Who are your art role models and who inspired you?
Number one is Todd McFarlane, always will be. Loved him as a kid, got me into comics. I have Spider-Man bed sheets. To this day, I don't use them anymore, but I still have them. And, I was very, very lucky that I actually got to work with my hero. And he was a gracious, lovely dude. And so he'll always be number one. And he's just such an inspiring guy. Even outside of comics, this whole toy industry, video games, etc. Like, Spawn is in Mortal Kombat now. I mean, that's just amazing. Who could want more than their own creation being in a Mortal Kombat game? Anyway, so he's number one. Greg Capullo's number two. He's another hardball. And he works so hard to get where he is today. His art, I think, is the best comic book art the world has ever seen. And I know that's completely opinionated, but you are asking. And then besides that, Todd Knock was a huge influence of mine, and which turned my style into a bit more cartoony. And that was obviously, he's a big fan of Art Adams, who's another major influence of mine. Down the line, J. Scott Campbell I've taken a lot from. There's people that I love, but I don't take anything from them, like Tim Sale. I think he's absolutely incredible. Another gigantic influence of mine and John's is John Romita Jr., what a freaking legend. one of the best comic book artists ever. And just other random people like Tony Moore. Like I found a lot of his stuff like I've really resonated with and put into my work, and that's just one thing that doesn't stop. Like I still find, even like for instance now, if I'm doing a book and I need, let's say they give me reference for Doctor Doom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, what's his costume and stuff? Let me go and Google, and then I just see a bunch of people drawing Doctor Doom. I'm like, oh, that's a cool way to render, you know, metal and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I've never seen it done that way.
Yeah.
And then you incorporate it that way, and you don't even know who the freaking artist is. But that's as time goes on. But even deeper than that, John Buscema, I think is, you know, he's absolutely incredible. John Byrne, I've taken a lot from his work. I think he's a master. And yeah, loads of people. I always recommend going back straight to basics. I know you're a huge Jack Kirby fan now. You weren't to begin with, but he's really resonated with you now. I highly recommend always looking at the people who started doing this and see how your favorite artists got their influences.
Well said, man. Yeah, so comic book related, the person that got me into it was Joe Madureira, only because, again, my love for video games, and the main inspiration I remember drawing from was Street Fighter. Still remember pausing the screen with my Super Nintendo and just drawing what I saw. And when Final Fantasy VII, I think, was out at the time, when I first started reading Battle Chasers, and it seemed like Final Fantasy slash RPG, but superhero version of it. Blew my mind. I don't think I'd ever seen anything like that. Even the coloring was so unique back then too. Really, really good stuff. So there's that. And yeah, a lot of the people that Will said, I'm in the same boat with. Those people get me excited. But and Will nailed it on the head at the end there. Jack Kirby in the last, I would say, 3 years, totally changed the way I look at comic books as a superhero telling medium, in particularly, or action and adventure sort of thing. It's very hard to not try to just draw the way he does for reasons that he does things. But and I mean, I could talk do a whole thing about Jack Kirby and the stuff that I've now found out that I liked about him that I had no idea about before. And arguably, I could look at his stuff and say like, I don't like this and that. But currently, I put him right up there with Joe Madureira and Bengus, the guy, one of the main artists on Street Fighter that really resonated with me. But
yeah, Bengus is dope.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I did forget one giant one, which was a huge influence of mine, is Bruce Timm as well.
Yes.
One of the best. Someone that can take 3 shapes and turn them into, master art.
Yep. If I could just add something to there, and thanks for bringing him up, is I remember looking at Bruce Timm's work in college when one of the other animation students, they were like, "Oh man, Batman the animated series is like my jam. I love everything about that." And I enjoyed that show, but I'm not a huge Batman guy. And I remember looking at that art, and at the time I was starting to get interested in more serious comic book style stuff like Finch, arguably Jim Lee and Mark Silvestri and that kind of look. And when I looked at Bruce Timm's stuff, it was just kind of like, I don't know, it just looks like animation to me. And I'm not sadly, I've never been an animation guy, even though I was in animation. But then once I started looking at Kirby, and I was starting to search in Google like artists that draw kind of like Kirby, Bruce Timm started to pop up, and I could see things that he was doing. And I'm like, oh my, this guy simplified Kirby.
Oh my god!
Almost in a better way.
Art.
Yeah.
But it's impossible to replicate.
Yes, it's very difficult.
You look at it and you're like, that's easy to do, and you try and do it, and you're like, this is impossible.
Yep. It's great stuff, man. Anyway, I hope to answer you guys' questions. Okay, well, I'm gonna just we'll end it right here. So thank you everybody that popped in today. I really appreciate you guys popping in, leaving comments and questions and all that cool stuff. Should see you tomorrow around the same time. And if Will's available, the invite's always there. And Raphael, I'll reach out to you, if not today, tomorrow. We'll see what we can set up for you, brother. And anybody else, too, I guess. What the hell? Like, may as well start seeing if we can get other people that might be interested. Even Rachel, Nimrod, anybody that's kind of been talking. If you're drawing, and maybe we'll start spicing it up. And that way it's not just me always talking. I need help, guys. Please help me out. Okay, and do you want to say anything?
Thank you, John, for making this a space for people to talk about comics and comic art.
Right on. You're welcome, buddy. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.